our children are misbehaving and not achieving the kind of education we desire them to achieve, it's because we don't have the power to see that they get it. Isn't that right? That's what it's about. We claim we know what they need. If we claim we know what they need and they're not getting what they need, then we must not have the power to give them what they need. Huh? If we're suffering from hunger and homelessness and all of the other stuff, and we have not changed that, it's because we have not developed what? The power to bring about the change. Because that's what power is about. The ability to bring about change in one's interest. The ability to solve problems. And if you cannot solve problems, that means then power is not being generated sufficient to solve those problems. And therefore, our problem here is a problem of power. And therefore, we must not be ashamed to recognize that we must pursue power as African people. That must be an obvious, conscious pursuit among us. And I know the white folk have made us think the idea of pursuing power is sinful. There's something wrong about it. We think power should only be pursued by white folk. That's white folks' game, right? Just like they made us think that poverty is a natural condition of black folk.
That's right.
And wealth is a natural condition of white folk. That's a lie of mythology. There's no reason for black people being poor in the world. Being poverty-stricken is not the destiny of African people. We do not have to accept that. Why are we poverty-stricken? Because we've been robbed. We were given and blessed by the Creator with natural wealth work.
That's right.
That's right. If the intention of the Creator was that African people be poor, why didn't He put the wealth of the world in your land? Given that wealth and placed in the land, placed under your feet, placed in the soil, and then you dare to think that your destiny is to be poor. You dare to think the condition of starvation is a natural condition of African people. No, no way. If God intended it to be that way, then why wasn't the wealth planted somewhere else and put somewhere else? And that means that if we were blessed with this wealth and we are not using this wealth, that means again we permitted somebody to falsify our minds. Because as I told you before, ultimately the wealth of the people is not in their land. The wealth of the people is ultimately in their head. The wealth is here, not in the land. Not in the land. The Japanese have no wealth in their land. And yet they are a powerful economic nation. Why did I tell you that? You know what? If you got a good mind, you can rob people's land. You can take people's wealth. So the mere having the wealth is not going to do anything for you. You got to have the capacity to what? Defend it, to use it. You see? But if it's given to you and your mind is not appropriately developed and your consciousness is not appropriately developed, other people who may not have anything but a mind, but a consciousness, will enrich themselves off of it. And this is what is happening to black folks. We are not poor because God has not been good to us. God has been abundant to us. We are poor because we've let another people deceive us. We are poor because we've fallen for mythologies. We are poor because we've learned the wrong kind of knowledge. We are poor because we've let our brains be impaired and atrophy in our heads. We are poor because we don't dare to love ourselves. We are poor because we don't dare to pursue power and dare to be independent and self-controlling and self-determined. We are poor because we don't have self-confidence and self-love, not because we don't have wealth. We look at the African nations today.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. Back again here tonight. Shouts out to Matron in the building. Appreciate that was a great reading again last night, Matron. So it was a great job. I definitely appreciate you being on here. And if you stick around long enough, I actually found something just now, right, where somebody just uploaded a video about Lumpkin's jail. So I know you was talking about it, and if you are around when I show it, like I definitely want you to see it. Um, but yeah, man, how are y'all today? You know what I'm saying? Now I'm here today because number one, I was hoping, you know, I things keep going wrong, you know what I'm saying, where every time I get to the end, I'd be like, I realize something is wrong with this book, and then I have to do something else, and then I gotta wait days for other things to happen, and I was hoping that it would come out tomorrow. Now I'm not doing it live tomorrow because shouts out to Koku and them, you know what I'm saying? So y'all definitely subscribe to Bitter Medicine podcast or whatever. But yeah, I was hoping that it would be tomorrow, but it should be like sometime like the next time I'm live, it should be up and ready, you know what I'm saying? So we definitely like I said, I wish that it was already, it's my fault, right? And I took a lot of time on this. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like, I know I've been saying it for like years, and probably people forgot about it and think it ain't gonna happen, but yeah, I've been like doing this same project since 2018, right? And this is only part one, you know what I'm saying? So I think that it's important, you know what I'm saying, that we understand and know our history from our perspective, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I went year by year. That's what took me so long. And then, of course, like life happened. So I fell off for months at a time sometimes. Shouts out to Raw in the building. Um, but I guess I can at least show y'all this for now. And I guess this is for anybody who wants, like, well, since I already it's already copyrighted, I guess, so I could show it. Um, show you the cover for it. This is the cover for it. Um, I don't know what y'all think about the cover, but yeah, man, this is a whole thing here. And then, like I said, it's probably gonna end up being probably like four parts because really I wanted it to be one thing so we can have somewhere where we can just go to document our history and stuff like that. That's what that was important to me. Like, no matter what happens, like I made it for the next generation. At the time, I was like, if I ever have kids or children, I'm sorry, if I ever have children, then I want them to be able to pick up and access their history. And it's like one of the things where you can skip through and read about individual things that happen, or you could read it. It makes more sense if you go time through the timeline, though. You know what I'm saying? Like to see how the whole system got built, how we got to where we are today. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, like I do want to, like, to for the access for the libraries and stuff, you have to do like a whole bunch of technical stuff, and this is my first time, so I keep messing it up. It should be. I was hoping for it to be tomorrow, Rob, but it's probably going to be some. It's before the next time I come on here. If it ain't tomorrow, it's gonna be the next couple days. I don't know because you gotta wait for it, and then after you put it on there, you gotta wait for them to like do whatever they gonna do to it. You know what I'm saying? Um, but hopefully, uh, people can under and it's not even about all of that stuff. Like I said, like I made it for the next generation. I guess now for my nephew, for him to be like, look, this is the situation, this is everything that happened. And for us to know the actual truth from our perspective, because I'm gonna be honest with you, like even just when you look at any kind of resources and stuff like that, it's usually like a white author who is like making books about the black, so they're profiting off of this stuff. And even if you try to use it, they'll flag you and stuff like that. Like that one white dude that used to flag my channel like all the time because he got black people videos profiting off of it, right? And this is a damn white boy using it. um but I'll tell you what, I should have put my email in the thing, so whoever wanted, I can send it to you when you are ready. But anyway, what I'm going to do today is just finish, or I keep going with the history lesson. And I guess when it come out, we'll like look at the first chapter or something like that. Y'all tell me what y'all think. And I've been saying this whole time. Shouts out to my brother Anthony in the building. Appreciate you, my brother. And yeah, I was like I said, I was just saying I was hoping that it would be ready by tomorrow, but it won't be. It probably won't be. Maybe one version might be. I don't know, but it'll be the next couple days. But we'll continue with Black History, and I want y'all to correct me on the stuff that I'm wrong about, though. You know what I'm saying? That's why I've been saying a lot of this stuff for years, and nobody like has really like said, "Oh, this is wrong." And I guess it has happened, and I was able to correct it, and put it in the book or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, and shouts out to people like Carter G. Woodson and people like that did it before me and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? My brother Anthony said your device not connected. So you can come up here. All right, there you go.
I'm
What
connected
up, my
now.
brother?
Hey, what's up, 4Ks? How you doing, brother?
I can't hear you. Can y'all hear him?
I can hear you.
It's probably me. I'm pretty sure it's me.
I hear you, man. I hear
So
you.
let me go out. I don't know why my thing is doing this. For some reason, I can't hear the people when they come on.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yo,
What's up, man?
what up, bro? I can hear you now.
Yeah. I'm good. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Hey, look here. I was me and my girl was sitting up. We been talking about you last night.
I'm talking about me.
Yeah, hey, when I send you that picture of them chitlins,
Oh yeah, man. I was like, what is this? Hey, hey, look,
I said my boy 4Ks. I know he talking about me bad.
hey, look, hey. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. My friend, right? She from the country, so I showed her
uh,
that talking about some ill. She like, oh, that look good. I'm like, girl, if you don't,
it is though.
I'm talking about something that look good. If y'all
Hey,
outside
look
with
here.
that slip,
Hey, look here. One more thing before we get serious. I got a
uh,
friend of mine. Like we went to the store and they like you know how the prices on everything going up. My partner said, "Man, they done raised the prices on shit."
yeah,
Hey, he was talking about
literally, like,
chitlins.
yeah.
I said, "Man, you better cut that out, man." But I'm just saying, man. Yeah, I was just me and my girl was sitting. I said, "That's my boy Corey, man." And she was just like, she done listened at a couple of the shows. She be over there listening with sometimes. And she be saying he don't like country, he don't like food from the country.
It ain't food from the country. It's food. It's slave food. We ain't supposed to be. It's a lot of stuff from the country I eat, but chitlins though.
Okay, 4Ks. You said slave food. No, enslaved Africa, the food that enslaved Africans ate.
Yeah, but I would say you're
But
right. I'm
why?
gonna just
What?
say you're
Hey,
right.
hey, but look here. This is what I'm saying. We still eat collard greens is good. They good for you.
They good for you though.
Hey, black eyed peas is good. They good for you. They
Yeah, they
beans.
good for you.
Hey, we ate them in Africa.
Yeah,
So I'm
but
saying, what you mean slave food?
chitlins though. That's what
Okay,
it.
okay,
That's
look here.
what.
Okay, chillers, I got it. Look here, we were no big hog eaters in Africa. But I'm saying when we was over here and it was survival food.
Yeah, it was survival food,
It was
but it's
survival.
not today, and
No,
Negroes are
it's not
still
today.
chowing down.
It's not today. And I'm gonna tell you like this here, like I don't eat them like I used to. It's like probably about once a year. But I'm saying now I still like the pork though, because I eat pig. We do whole hogs down and put them on the grill. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but look here, I'm just saying, man,
Hey.
don't disrespect yourselves like that.
Hey, don't listen to me, bro. I eat pork chops, so I don't listen to
I'm just playing
me.
with you, man. Hey, but seriously, like, what you talking about, man? What the subject is?
All right, so yeah, we're just gonna go back to Black
Yeah,
History
let me
today,
mute. Let me
bro.
mute.
Yeah, all right, yeah, we can just go on to it. Let's see what we got up here. Okay, yeah. We're gonna go to the Black History thing. And I guess you're gonna probably like this one. This is about kind of like or I guess let's see where we are as far as in history. And like I said, y'all correct me. Like I appreciate my brother Anthony got no problem. Well, I listen to him. Matron could correct me. Like, but if y'all disagree, especially about the slave trade and that stuff didn't happen, you are welcome. Because the last brother that came on here who disagrees with it now admits that the homicide at least happened. So there's at least one that we know is real. So, all right, let's talk about it. I know some people deny slave ships even exist at all. Now, they might be saying that for an ulterior motive, and they may only be talking about one specific place, right? But when you start to break it down, it's a little bit more complicated when you ask, did slave ships go to Brazil or something like that? Or even asking, did the French bring in slaves in New Orleans? It gets a little bit confusing. Because usually when they say that, it's ulterior motives saying that, I'm not going to get into any of that, but it's ulterior motives. And like I said, the problem with that is most slaves were not brought to North America or what became the United States of America. The majority of slaves were transported to the Caribbean and to places like Brazil. Now, between the late 1400s and early 1700s, hundreds of quote unquote military bases or forts were built along the Gold Coast.
Originally built by Sweden in the 1650s, then shifted to the Danish, then the Dutch, and then became an English possession by the 1660s. In the castle's early decades, trade revolved around gold, wood, and textiles, before English merchants began to seek captive Africans in large numbers.
This is actually the youngest, as well as the smallest, of the three castles built along the coast of West Africa. But then we say that this is the biggest slave castle. It's the biggest slave castle because it was built at the time when the transatlantic slave trade was at the highest level. So the dungeons here were actually built much bigger to hold about 1,500 people at the same time. Well, the people that were brought here were not all from Ghana. They brought them in from several parts of Africa. But the biggest number came from West Africa. And they had to walk from wherever they were captured, either tied up or in shackles and chains. They find themselves here in Cape Coast Castle in particular. Before they send them into the dungeons, each group of Africans that were here were owned separately by lots of British companies. So the companies will then put metals with their initials on them into fire. They tense where they pull it out before the metal goes to any part of the human body.
By the way, British at the time, Portuguese, Spanish, Dutch, they fought each other over these things here too. So.
They smear that part up with oil before they brand them. After branding them, they will send them into the dungeons where they stayed at least 2 weeks or 3 months, waiting for the arrival of the slave ships. Now we are in the male dungeon, starting from here all the way down to the 5th room. The whole place took about 1,000 black men. 1,000 black men, mathematically we will say that each of these rooms held about 200 people.
We walked through the door.
Yeah, bro, you can speak whenever you want to jump in, bro.
Okay, all right, forecast. Okay, like lately, I've been seeing this stuff all over social media. Well, I've been seeing it for the last few years. But look here, this is one thing I'm gonna say. You an intelligent brother, I'm an intelligent brother. There's plenty of us intelligent brothers and sisters. When you hear Negroes talking about the slave trade didn't exist, and talking about we from here and all that shit, that is a bunch of bullvine vivacity. That is a bunch of bullshit. And it ain't founded on nothing. They can't take you to no sources. Oh, we the Aboriginal, we the indigenous. They only know one tribe, the Cherokees and the Blackfoot. You know what I'm saying? That is total bullshit. There were all kind of records of them bringing Africans from different parts of West Africa and Central Africa here. You know what I'm saying? We have it, documented. You know what I'm saying? Even like we're here in Louisiana, in Mobile, Alabama, even in Virginia. In your place, I go for every Negro that you hear talking about this thing, especially this thing they have about how they changed they changed ethnicity from a Negro to Indian and African and all of those shit that they have in Virginia. That was total bullshit. I mean, it could be explained by people who study and who know. But see, you have it's such a self-hatred that we have, and like, oh, that we were slaves. You know what I'm saying? The self-hatred behind it and shame and guilt that motherfuckers just come up with any kind of shit. And then you can listen to anybody tell you anything. This Dane Calloway shit. But what I'm saying is, like what you touched on, yes, of course, the majority of enslaved Africans were not trafficked to America. They were trafficked to the Caribbean and they were trafficked to South America, okay, and Central America. But see what those same people don't know, same Negroes don't know, is that many of the Africans that were trafficked to America were trafficked from the Caribbean. You know what I'm saying? The Caribbean was the places where they call them, they were seasoning islands, breaking islands, where they broke the slaves, like Barbados, Haiti, Jamaica. They were slave breaking islands, and they would send people to like the Carolinas. A lot of the Africans from the Carolinas came from Africa, but via the Caribbean. You know what I'm saying? Barbados, places like that. That's why in South Carolina back in the day, they in the plantation day, they even had that the John Canoe Festival down there. You know what I'm saying? They celebrated John Canoe because of those Africans. And then Denmark Vesey. Denmark Vesey was from the Caribbean. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so in Virginia, Mingo, the African Mingo, and I'm gonna tell you know what? The first time I ever heard of Mingo was from you. I said, who is Mingo? When you talked about the Mingo rebellion, then I looked it up. Well, Mingo was from West Africa. You know what I'm saying? So when I hear this, and when I even hear that when we even give them any kind of conversation, I like, no, man, don't do that, man. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard in my life. You know what I'm saying? That's the stupidest shit I ever heard in my life. Because we have facts. We have the documents and everything. And these people that say, my grandmama, your grandmama lied to you. You ain't no goddamn Indian. And every last one of them a Cherokee. The Cherokees wouldn't even where you from. You know what I'm saying? Negroes that are, well, we Cherokee. I said, there wasn't no Cherokees in Louisiana. There wasn't no Cherokees in Virginia. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they don't even know the history of it. And if they only knew that the Cherokees hated Negroes, they enslaved Africans. So I'm saying when I hear that kind of talk, man, I just be like, you know what? The slave masters did a hell of a thing. Dr. Amos Wilson talked about it. Dr. Bobby, they talked about how they play these games with our mind, how they confuse you. When you get stripped of your language, stripped of your culture, stripped of your heritage and your names and all that stuff, you like, well, where I'm from? And then you trying to find an identity. Oh, I'm an Aboriginal. I'm a Native. You ain't no goddamn Native American. You ain't no indigenous person. Anybody that is foolishness, and that's a brainwashed Negro. And that shit just killed me, man. You can get on back to the program. I just had to interject that now because some people actually believe that shit and it is false.
Yeah, and I will say this before I forget. That Walter Plecker thing, right? It was a law in the 1900, 1920, I think 1921, in like Virginia or whatever. But it was if you actually go back and look though, like the black newspapers and stuff like that, like they was talking about how the Indians who they were talking about like was pissed off, who was like a lot of mulattoes, because most of the cases was like they would be mulatto and black. It was like, like black people will sleep with anything.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on for a minute, folks. I'm sorry. Please let me. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking at Marshawn Lynch and Mike Robb and them show. Godfrey was on. The brother Godfrey was on Godfrey and Jima, the comedian Godfrey. Yeah. He was on there. Well, they started talking about it came up like black people, and Mike Robb. It surprised me, in which I said, man, I can't believe he said that. He's bought into the FDA thing, okay, with Tariq Nasheed, and they even mentioned Tariq Nasheed. Well, he was saying, well, we black. He was talking about, because Godfrey said something about we black people. We said, yeah, we black and we look alike, but we different. And he started talking about that FBA kind of bullshit, that foolishness, that house Negro plantation shit. Okay, he started talking about that. He was talking about Virginia because he's from Virginia, I think. He was talking about this thing where they said, well, how they changed the status and, it was African and Negro and Indian and
Yeah,
Malay
yeah, that's not
and
true. It's not true the way they said it. Yeah, it's
yeah,
not
and
true.
all that shit there. But see, one thing about it, I need to run this down real quick and briefly. The history of that particular thing. When the British came to Virginia, the first people they met were the indigenous people, the Native Americans. Okay, those Native Americans was among some of the first Native American, the Indian people who had met Europeans. Okay, before the rest of them in the interior and in the adjoining regions. What happened? We know the story about John Smith and Pocahontas and all that bullshit. Okay, what happened? These people, these being coastal people who lived on the coast, they met with the English. You had a blending of cultures. You know what I'm saying? Well, some of the English men probably married Native American Indian women, whatever. And then afterwards, they introduced enslaved Africa. They brought Africans there. And so over a period of time, some of the Indians probably bought Africans. You know what I'm saying? And the English had Africans, and some of the Indians probably bought Africans, and it was the enemy. So you had a blending of three cultures: of Europeans, of the Native Americans, and of the Africans. And at some point, some people would look more Indian, some people look more European, some people look more African, and then you had some people who you didn't know what the hell they was. You just knew they weren't white. You know what I'm saying? And this is where that thing come from. When it's talking about what is a Negro and all this stuff. They were talking about mixed race people of different
Right.
appearances. This
Yeah.
is what they were talking about. I just want to put that out there. Why they talking about? Well, at one time, how you hear the FBA talking about at one time, we went from being Indians to being Negroes and to being all this whole shit here. That's what
Right.
See, they talk about shit and don't have the proper context. That's what I'm saying.
No, yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. That's why I was even setting it up, like, because you explained it well. If you go back and look at the black newspapers back then, right, they would tell you how like a lot of the mulattoes and a lot of the Indians, like that's why they always in court be like, I'm not a Negro, you know what I'm saying? Because they be like whatever they think they something else. They you know how mulattoes be, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, a lot of times that like when you go back and read the black newspaper, the black people was like, yo, F these Indians, they start talking crazy. You know how Mexicans same way they'll do the Mexicans today, right? You know what I'm saying? And they'll talk crazy to us. That's what the Indians was doing at the time, and then like the black people even doing like with the whole Plecker thing, and like there's a newspaper from like Richmond, like a black newspaper in Richmond that was like talking about it, and they were saying like, yo, how the Indians is like racist as hell and stuff like that, and how like they got mad because they made that law. But it was I forgot the context right now. I wrote about it. That's part is in the book. I forgot why they like the governor, the white dude who passed the law. I think like it was either the governor or somebody. It was like he had something else. It was like something else going on too at the time, and it was just I forget the whole context right now, but um it's been a minute since I went on that point. But um also, and I'll say this the last thing, like while like why I don't talk about the whole FBA thing, right? Because like as much as it does, like people be like Harriet Tubman doesn't exist, you know what I'm saying? But then they think John Brown does, you know what I'm saying? You cannot have both constantly. Like if one doesn't exist, then the other can exist, you know what I'm saying? Or is a liar. So um I get it though, is because unfortunately a lot of us do not want to accept the reality that we are still enslaved to this very day, right? Because you'll get offended if I be like, yo, it's slavery. And that's why I'd be like, how are we not mad? And luckily people get mad now, you know what I'm saying? Welcome to the show. They're not mad enough. But um I think people it's okay to be like, yo, a crime happened to you. To be a victim does not make you helpless. It means somebody did a crime to you. Like if I came in and robbed your house, like it doesn't make you helpless, but yeah, you're a victim of a crime. You know what I'm saying? And that is what happened. But we don't even want. It's like a pride thing is like I guess you can equate it with a man being raped, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like a man don't want to admit he got raped, but that's what happened, you know what I'm saying? And it literally happened. And so like what we talking about even with this. And also we also talked about it too before, like does that like it only really counts the British records, like you said, like Louisiana, that was a French territory, right? Florida was a Spanish territory, like Texas, like where a lot of slave owners went to. Because I challenge that, like I'm pretty sure like some that's a whole nother conversation, but I'll get to that when we get there, you know. But yeah, I'd be like, yo, don't. I'm not as hard because I understand it. You know what I'm saying? Now it makes us. I'm not gonna say it's good, you know, but that's why I don't really be trying because I get where they're coming from, right? And if like it's true, like when we were here, and you understand that, like we had to realize we had to put our tribal differences aside in this foreign nation. You know what I'm saying? This foreign land, right? And black people is something we always had is tribal differences, you know what I'm saying, like, and I don't know, I'm gonna keep going, so though just so we can finish
Of
it.
no return.
Now Europeans fought each other over these territories for control of these forts, and they essentially used them as makeshift prisons where Africans who have been kidnapped were brutalized until they were put on a ship and sent to whatever colony they were going to. Now, of course, many of you know the details about what was going on to these people in these forts. And yeah, and I did mention like when they was building their military forts, right? So let's talk about it. What's going on today with their military forts in Africa? Maybe I shouldn't have had this one. Oh, well, yeah, this is just like racism at their military camps. I ain't even need this one. Let me see. And it's gonna make it go longer. All right, yeah, here we go.
Djibouti is a small country in the Horn of Africa that is most well known in the Western world for its funny-sounding name in English. Indeed, Djibouti is a country that few Westerners probably ever give a second thought about. It's only about the size of New Hampshire, and it only has a small population of about 957,000 people, the lowest population of any country on the entire mainland African continent. And yet, despite its small size and funny-sounding name, Djibouti is one of the most serious and influential geopolitical hotspots in the entire world because of this: the sheer number of foreign military bases that have been established on its territory. I mean, just look at this map of the area immediately around Djibouti's capital city, which is also called Djibouti. You've got an American military base here, which is the only permanent military base the United States has got anywhere on the African continent. You've got a collection of French military bases up here, a French-operated air base down here that the United States also uses to fly drones out of. You've got a Japanese military base over here, which is literally the only overseas base that the Japanese operate anywhere. You've got an Italian military base wedged in here by the Americans. You've got another French naval base up here. You've got German and Spanish soldiers who don't have bases of their own but get stationed up in these hotels. And then you've even got a Chinese People's Liberation Army naval base over here on the other side of town, opposite of the Americans and friends. The first overseas military base that the People's Republic of China ever built anywhere. And other countries are still actively trying to build their own bases here as well. In 2021, Djibouti agreed to allow Saudi Arabia to begin construction of a new military base in the country as well, which will likely appear somewhere near the American base when completed. And then for years now, Djibouti has also been courted by the Indian and Russian governments to construct some kind of base there for themselves as well. All of this means that as of 2023, little Djibouti, in fact, has by far the highest per capita concentration of foreign military bases on its soil out of any country in the world. And that kind of begs a question. Why and how did this little country in the Horn of Africa essentially become the 21st century's global military base for all of the world's great powers to set up their operations in? Well, a lot of Djibouti's significance and value comes from its ideal geographic position. You see, while Djibouti is indeed small, it also sits precisely on the western side of the narrow Bab el-Mandeb Strait, immediately opposite of Yemen. At its narrowest point, this strait is about 28 kilometers.
All right, yeah, we get it. Everybody got a damn military base, but you. That's
Thomas
crazy.
Wall, who came with a report that was commissioned by O.R. Tambo that I led the investigation of whether there is a base in Botswana or not during our exile times. And we found that this is a military base of the US, and the Botswana government was pretending like this is their airport. But that is not
So they was lying.
as
That's not the
proper.
only one, huh?
Presented that, but there was a predetermined outcome. And then Hanegom was the chairperson, Derek Hanegom.
And you want to say something, my brother?
Yeah, forecast. Okay, Djibouti. Djibouti. No, I read about Djibouti. I did a little study on Djibouti. Now I know Djibouti is actually okay. You had to go back to the 19th century, late 19th century, early 20th century. Djibouti was actually a part of. It was disputed between Ethiopia and Somalia. Okay. Djibouti, as a matter of fact, at one time Djibouti was called French Somaliland when the French colonizers were there. Now, see, Djibouti is located in one of the most strategic parts of the world. It's the area that's known as the Horn of Africa, East Africa, where Somalia, Kenya, Ethiopia, that area, they are the Arabian Peninsula across. It's where a lot of oil and natural gas is. Okay, so Djibouti, now, the first president of Djibouti he stayed president for a long time. I don't know, probably 20, 30 years or whatever. I don't know who's president now. I have to look lately. But I'm saying you have an American military base, a Chinese military base, French, Russians, everybody else. You know what I'm saying? What is happening is that the Djibouti government, in their mind, I think, they're playing chess. Okay, we got all these people, all these different groups. But, on the one hand, you would think, well, we're playing chess. But on the other hand, when you look at it, it's really just these motherfuckers are a pawn that's trying to open up East Africa and Africa to these other external forces and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's their base. Like one person, how one person might think that he playing the people, but he really getting played his damn self. You know what I'm saying? He really getting paid his damn self. And I'm talking about the government of Djibouti. I watched a couple of videos. I did a couple of things about Djibouti, man. There's a brother of mine, another brother from East Africa who was talking about it. What I'm saying, Djibouti is basically like they anchor into East Africa. That's what they're trying to do. It's an anchor into East Africa. That's what the Europeans with the Asians and the Japanese, that's what all of them trying to do. They're trying to get an anchor into especially Ethiopia. Ethiopia just built their damn dam. It successfully completed their dam. You know what I'm saying? That all of the geopolitics behind that. But I was just trying to give just a little bit of context about Djibouti. Go ahead, bro.
No, yeah, yeah, that was right on time, my brother. And that's the point, right? And you notice how they ain't say no Nigerian army base or no what is a black, at least there is some black nations. I was about to say that what is a black nation? If not in disguise as a white nation, but I ain't gonna say that because there is some black nation, so I'll take it back. But I'll just move on before I say something crazy. So black people, and of course, like I said, people can definitely come on and say if I'm me or my brother, well, I'll say towards me. You can direct it towards me. If I'm wrong about something, you let me know and I'll correct it, right? You could prove me wrong, right?
The water, this is the last thing our forefathers remember, and they will move them down to the point of no return where we are going.
As a slave, when you get into this room, that means you will not return back anymore. And this is the door of no return. Come and check it out. It's very, very narrow. Check it out. It's very, very narrow. This is the door of no return. So, when the slave pass here, the ship will be parked over there.
Let them know that we came back and that we lived, we survived, and we thrived, and we are thriving.
This is one of the doors of no return. I must return.
Every black person living should go to Ghana and see them slave castles so you can see what they did to us. You got to see what they did to us. You got to see how they built these dungeons underground and they put these churches on top and they dug holes in the ground to pump the music or what they call Christianity into the holes. While, man, they did, let me explain something to y'all. They walk them as far as they can first to make them lose weight. They put them in a room, then they cut a door, and after you've been in this room in 2 weeks, they walk you through this door. If you lose the right amount of weight, you fit through the door. If you don't fit through the door, you got to stay in this room right here. Then you in this room for another week, they make you lose some more weight. Then you fit through another door. If you can't fit through the door, you ain't lost enough weight. You got to go through 4 doors like that before you go through the door of no return.
Planning to publish your book?
Oh, yeah. Put a commercial in there.
Dug by the African chiefs. When the white men met the African chiefs doing the business, that what can they do to avoid slave revolt on the ship? The African chiefs came together and they decided to dig this well. They dug this well, they added black magic in it. Ooh. So by taking the slaves from that jetty, the way we move to this place, but not as easy as we move. When they get to this place, they'll fetch the water and there's incantation they recite before taking the water. I will send you that incantation. So they will recite it after taking the water.
Yo, by the way, speaking of like spooked out, right? For all the spooked out black people, right? It is Friday the 13th, so.
This is the last thing our forefathers remember. And they will move them down to the point of no return where we are going to. That's the black magic they added in this water will spend up to 3 to 4 months in our forefathers' brain. Because the ship will spend up to 3 to 4 months on the sea. It depends on the distance of the country they are taking them to. If the country is far, they will spend 4 months. If the country is close, they will spend 3 months. So for that 3 months, they won't remember anything. I just imagine that then, how would they feel when they get to unknown man's land? What do you remember? I drank water, and after that, what about you? I drank water, and you? I drank water, and they forgot everything. Now they will have new memory.
I know one thing, this cracker here kidnapped me, and I got to do whatever it takes to, I know that. That's what I do know. I ain't forget that.
Yeah, and male domestic slave were
anyway, y'all, let me go on. Now, there was, I ain't gonna say that was all of us, right? Because there was some smart Negroes, and there's only one smart group of Negroes left on the planet, right? And some of us have done this, but not enough, obviously.
He was
not to a successful level.
by a group of people called the Sentinelese, and nobody did anything about it. You see, the Sentinelese are a tribe of people that live on an island that has no contact with the outside world. But see, John's a missionary and thought, okay, if they don't have contact with the outside world, then they don't know about Jesus in them. So John decides to fly to India since it's close to the Sentinelese people's island. Now, this part's important. The Sentinelese people live on an island called North Sentinel Island. This is part of a larger island chain called the Andaman Islands. But see, the people in the Andaman Islands have contact with the outside world. The people in the Sentinel Islands don't have contact with anybody, not even the people in the Andaman Islands. They are literally all by themselves. As soon as John touches down in India, they say, okay, John, what you here for? John said, I'm just passing through. I'm trying to go to, listen closely, the Andaman Islands. The Indian government says, okay, no problem. But don't go to the Sentinel Islands. That's illegal. You see, the Indian government banned people from going to the Sentinel Island. And you'll find out why in a second. John said, illegal? That's too bad for y'all, because I'm going anyway. John already knew it was illegal. He said, I'm still going. John flies over to the Andaman Island. The people in the Andaman Island said, damn, bro, we don't get too many visitors. What you here for? John said, sightseeing. Can y'all show me where the Sentinel Island's at? They said, we can show you, but we can't take you. It's illegal. He said, of course. They said, there go to Sentinel Island right there. It's across the water from us. John said, I bet, I'm finna need a boat. They said, what? He said, I said, LeBron, the GOAT. John goes over to look for a boat. John finds two fishermen. He said, look, y'all, I need y'all to take me to Sentinel Island. They said, what? You know that's illegal. You gonna pay my bail? John said, I got $400 US. I don't know how much bail costs, but they said, say no more. You have me at US dollars. Hop on the boat. So John and the fishermen approach the Sentinel Island. The Sentinelese people see John and the fishermen pulling up. They start bringing out their bows and arrows, start moving aggressively. They're like,
Now what if
John said,
what if we were some spirit truckers for real? You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay, I got you, my brother. Now, what if we had pulled up to the shore with our spears, chucking them Jones? We should have been some damn spirit truckers, but unfortunately, we was not. We was some welcome in the pale face, and
you think they're trying to tell me to pull up? The fisherman said, nah, I think they're trying to tell you to stay here. John said, what y'all know? John hops on a canoe. He gets a little bit closer. Now, at this point, the Sentinelese people, they see him. John said, okay, raise the roof. All right, look, check it out, y'all. I got a Bible here. I just want to tell y'all about Jesus. That's when the Sentinelese really get to knucking and bucking. They pull out the bows and arrows. They say, ooh.
now imagine if they had told us about Jesus and we really went off. Where would we be today?
If you come on this island, ooh. John said, oh, them folk tripping. He leaves. The fisherman said, that's what we was trying to tell you. Them folk like that. John said, so's my Lord and Savior. We're spinning the block and coming back another day. John was not finished. He comes back another day. The fishermen tell him, John, we appreciate the cash, no refunds, but you can't go out there. John said, watch me. John takes the canoe again. He approaches the Sentinelese people. The Sentinelese people look at each other. They say, hey, stupid. Stay over there. John said, okay, I'm just going to come a little bit closer. He brings out his Bible and starts to sing. He said, how great is... Boom! They shoot an arrow at bro. But the arrow hits John's Bible and he swims away. And here's where things start to get wicked. You see, they didn't accidentally hit John's Bible. That was their target. They didn't want to hurt him. They wanted him to go away. You see, there's a reason why the Indian government made it illegal for people to have contact with the Sentinelese. It's because their immune systems are not built to handle the diseases that humans in the world carry today. And the Sentinelese people know that because this British dude, Maurice, in the 1800s, pulled up to the Sentinel Islands, took 4 people. He gave them smallpox. 2 of them, he said, send the other 2 back to the island. The other 2 were coughing, sick. He said, send them back. Maurice then visits a tribe close by the Sentinelese, wipes out the entire population. Maurice said, damn, he wrote in his diary, yeah, it seems that we get people sick, but we the British, it's the 1800s, we finna pull up.
Now, these no-taking baths, I had some, I guess I should have applauded for that, but now these disgusting, dirty fools getting everybody diseased and pregnant. I mean, not sick and, I didn't mean to say pregnant, but, oh, damn, I didn't see your comments, I'm sorry. They was like, oh yeah, FBA is like the Moorish kingdom. They say you're a thing and not connected, my brother. All right, there you go.
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. All right.
Anyway, so after witnessing all this, you can probably understand why the Sentinelese don't want people approaching the island. Now, the crazy part is, despite witnessing all this, the Sentinelese people seem pretty chill. Indian anthropologists visited them in the 90s. Look at bro shaking hands. He said, what's good with y'all? Hey, we don't want y'all visiting, but like, we cool. The Indian people start giving them coconuts. The Sentinelese people like, appreciate y'all. But one of the Sentinelese people brings out some real sharp dough and starts putting it around his heart, saying,
Now, the one with common sense was like,
oh, I think we gotta
right
go.
now.
Sentinelese tribes like, yes, y'all gotta go, but we appreciate y'all, you know. But unlike those Indian anthropologists, John didn't take the hint and decides to go a 3rd time. And well, that was that. The next time they found John, he was on the beach of the island. The Indian government pulls up to the Andaman Islands. They said, what happened? They said, John went to Sentinel Island. India said, oh. The United States pulls up. They said, what happened to our citizen? You know we don't play. They said, he went to Sentinel Island. United States said, "Oh, that's that island where you're not supposed to." India said, "Yeah, we went over to the island too to get his remains for y'all." The Sentinelese people was not having it, but we did manage to get his diary. United States government looked at his diary and said, "I know what I'm doing is illegal. If they catch me slipping, don't be mad at the Sentinelese." The United States said, "No, we're not mad." The United States and the Indian government figured, well, he was warned a bunch of times. What can you do? In fact, his parents, John's parents, weren't even upset at the Sentinelese or John. They were upset at the evangelical church, who they believe radicalized him. In fact, even
All right. So that's if we could have been smarter. But and I'll play this real quick. I know Mason probably gone already, but she was talking yesterday about Lumpkin's jail. So I wanted to show you a little bit about once they got over here, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Hey,
not
Fly fam. It is the next day. It is a Saturday morning.
now. I walk my dog over here pretty regularly, so I'm always over here a lot when it's nice outside, but they didn't have that luxury of waiting until it was nice outside. Okay, yeah, make sure I'm about to show the Lumpkins jail. Yeah, it be saying like one person is in here, so it's crazy. And I know I'm in here, so yeah, I ain't playing.
Morning, and Ruth and I decided to get up. And investigate the slave trail here in Richmond, Virginia. People have been telling us about the slave trail. I don't know if it's just a trail that you walk, or the slaves, when they got off the boats in the waterway, which is right over here. I might get a couple of shots for you. And then they walked, I guess, to the auctioning block or the slave pen. But we're going to try to figure out where this is. But I think we're on the slave trade.
Yeah, that was a video. I went down there. See, why this video skipping? But
and it's just
yeah, they have all of them videos now. Well, yeah, they have all of these locations that's marked now or whatever. But yeah, and the auction block it became the farmers market, right? So like it's down there by the train station now. But if you see how long that walk is, that's crazy, you know.
The slave trail. So we're trying to figure out, and I think Ruth went ahead. So
Yo, I walked far, but that's too far to walk.
Oh, you don't know how long it is. And then they probably took them into town and sold them, or in some kind of slave pen. Probably.
Many slaves were shipped onto New Orleans and to other deep South port. The trail follows the footsteps of those who remained here and crossed the James River, often chained together in a coffle. Once reaching the northern riverbank, the trail then follows the route through the slave markets and auction houses of Richmond, beside the Reconciliation statue commemorating the international triangular slave trade, and onto the site of the notorious.
And look, yo, I'm not spooked out either, but yo, you can feel the energy there. And then when I be walking down there, it'd be like snakes and bugs. And I'd be like, yo, they was doing it barefoot. It's like cold outside right now. And like, yo, it's crazy. Like, nah, I'm deaf. And then like, even if you run away, you gotta hide in the bushes and stuff. Like, I don't even want to go in the bushes right now on this trail. You know what I'm saying? But they definitely got all of it marked, but it'd be like snakes and all type of stuff out there right this minute. Well, probably not right now because it's cold, but when we be out there, like, you got to watch out for snakes and all type of stuff.
It's Lumpkin's slave jail. We should find that.
Try to find that too. Lumpkin's slave
slave jail.
Slave jail. All right, so we're on what they call.
And they think they're gonna walk it. There's no way you can walk that far from where they're at.
Because this is a 25-minute walk.
Obviously, it's a way, but
to through here.
Okay.
And then it's another 20-minute walk.
So that's an hour.
And then you got a 15-minute walk.
And then this Mayo Island thing where she is, is a right now is an okay place to go, but it's like relaxing because you can go out there by the river and stuff. But they had to be out there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy, and I'll be imagining like, damn, they had to be out here, and it wasn't like it is today, where it's like paths and like people building like them little makeshift bridges over ponds and stuff like that. You know.
Here.
Okay.
And then another 35-minute walk.
So it's about an hour and a half.
Long ass walk.
Something like that. Okay.
And then right here is where the farmers market used to be, and then it's like a train station there now. But they made it something else. It's not even a farmers market, but when I was young, they had a lot of black farmers that used to be out there that used to sell their produce and stuff like that. So I used to go with my grandma.
So this is the waterway, I guess, Ruth.
Right. I'll have to look up and see the actual number of enslaved that came through here and through South Carolina.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So can you guys imagine? I can't even imagine what they were experiencing. First and foremost, I don't know, how long did it take to even get here on the boat across the Atlantic? Months. And then they're bringing you somewhere. You don't know where you're going. You're chained up. I mean, that's just has to be horrible. And that's why
Now making the hike chained up barefooted is crazy.
As much as we complain about what we don't have and all that, compared to what our ancestors had, we got it made. And we got to go get it out the mud. Nobody's going to give us anything. We got to take it. And you all saw the museum exhibit that we showed you guys. And just like Ruth was explaining, and I can't think of her name, Ruth, the lady that modified the ironing board to make it what it is today.
See, I usually be on the other side of the river with my dog or whatever.
Modified the ironing board to make it work for her. Well, it's kind of like this is what we have to do today, Ruth.
Yeah, he was spitting knowledge for a while, but this video is kind of long. I want you to see the Lumpkins jail.
All right, many of you seen this before. You might have seen it online. This is that same picture that you see online a lot of a slave ship.
I think I sent you this one too when I was out there.
Get this part, how to show how they were laying.
All right, so yeah, these is like how most of the trails look though, like going into the woods and stuff.
All right, this is a part of the pathway that many of our ancestors walked through this area. Just wanted to show you guys. We're not going to walk the whole trail. We're going to try to find
you can't walk the whole trail.
Slave pen,
It's super far.
slave jail.
All right, let's get some shots of
That also,
Across the Atlantic.
they didn't know where they were going.
You're naked. You're
Chained.
carrying dead babies. As a woman, what if you're menstruating? You don't have nothing. Yes. You're beat already. Starving.
They don't know if
I'm
it's
saying
like
if you feel like the odds are against you, this is
all right. Let's see. Let me.
nice houses. Are doing all right?
He mentioned that there was the place on the slave trail where it used to be it was a parking lot, but I guess when they were digging, they found bones of slaves. They knew it was a enslaved burial site, and so he said they put grass over and I believe that this is it right here. So I believe this is hallowed ground. Wow.
Yeah, now the highway that they built is like right beside. They don't really honor it for real,
That's
for real. It's just
Lumpkin's
like an
jail.
old shack that's in the middle of
Lumpkin's
like the
jail was
city,
owned by
just
Robert
there.
Lumpkin, who
I
maximized
think they
profit,
knocked it down now though in the
profit
last couple of years.
when
I
in
heard.
1867 she rented the complex to a Christian school, which evolved.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let y'all hear this.
Robert Lumpkin, was he white?
Black?
Oh,
Jail as the devil's half acre.
wow.
I'm sorry, my bad. Y'all shouldn't
And
skip
a
it.
residence for his family. So he made a lot of money off the slave trade. Maybe he didn't own slaves, but he made money off of it, didn't he? So
Then it says
Sure did.
enslaved Africans refer to Lumpkin's jail as the devil's half acre.
wow. Reflecting the
Reflecting the
despair and anger of people separated forever from their families. However, Mary Lumpkin, a black woman who was Robert's widow.
What?
Wait a minute, I'm confused.
You see how they got
Mary
confused that quick? Yeah, he was a white boy, yes. And he had a black woman, right? Ain't that something? They're confused. They don't even know if he's white or black or not because they're like, can you marry? They're their property. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was a white dude. They're straight confused because this fool had a damn black wife. That's crazy.
So Robert Lumpkin, was he white?
Black?
Or black?
He was what they say the devil's acre.
It says, however,
Acre.
Mary Lumpkin, a black woman who was Robert's
So he
widow.
had to be.
So
That's
he had
why
to
they
be
said a black woman, you know,
not
because he was a
not a
white
black
boy.
man at that time. Married to, I mean, a white man
married to a black woman.
He was black.
So who was Robert's
He
widow?
was a white man. You see that right there? I ain't even
Who
see it the
cares?
first time. Huh?
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
man. I ain't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't think you had hit me. Okay. Well, I'm saying this is another point that give me a part of the confusion about our people. They somebody was he or this or that, whatever. No, you motherfucker, you know, them white men used to rape African women. They raped them. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't married to no black woman. That was his concubine, his slave. He raped her. You know what I'm saying?
Property.
Yeah, his property. Like you said, his property. And here we go, like, you see, it's a part of that, us humanizing these honkies. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know, we see people as people. No, that's a devil. That was a devil. That it owned people. You know what I'm saying? What motherfucker you think he gonna have a white wife and everything, a black wife and treat her good, and then be a devil and all of the evil shit that he did to other black people? Come on, man. You know, and I get sick of us with that shit. You know, like that Henry Louis Gates talk about shit like, well, you know, it was complicated. There were relationships. No, it wasn't no goddamn relationship. How the hell a 13-year-old Sally Hemings gonna be in a relationship with a 56-year-old Thomas Jefferson? That was a rape. He's a pedophile.
Pedophile, right? That's when she got pregnant. Not the first time he raped her. That was when she got pregnant. That's what they leave out the story.
Exactly.
Well, as you see here, like Matron said, he was a white man that owned a black woman that he set free as a benefit of his death. And yeah, she wasn't even really free even then because you couldn't technically be free. Like she had to be under the supervision of a white person, right? Because at this time, if a black person, because Lumpkin's jail is like later on in the story. It's not existing where we at now. But at this time, a free black person would get kicked out of the colony. You know what I'm saying? Because and you would have to actually pay. Like if say a white Neanderthal did want to release you, they had to pay to release you. You know what I'm saying? Then they had to like sign contracts to be like they would be responsible for you. But for the most part, if you was not leaving the colony within a certain amount of time, then they would say that you are automatically a slave, like, you know what I'm saying, by law. And plus they do what they want to do. So it doesn't really matter what they say. They just do what they want to do. But that's how sick they are. They rape you And the black woman probably was she probably was on the thing like enjoying the little bit of privilege on her plantation that she had. You know what I'm saying? Just like the dude Samuel L. Jackson in the movie. He's the king on his plantation, but you step foot off that plantation, boy. But
Drops with it boosted post-Civil War black education when, in 1867, she rented the complex to a Christian school, which evolved into Virginia Union University.
hey, that's right across the street from me.
So that's where Virginia Union comes from. Interesting. Huh. All right. I thought the other place was the burial ground.
They're gonna show the house, I think.
This is the burial ground we're going to now. Historic burial ground and Lumpkin slave jail.
Now, I'll be like, to be real, if you saw it in real life, you'll be like, you wouldn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? This is just a highway that's right over top of them, and it's just a sign right here, and it's just a field.
It's all of this lawn here.
It's just a field, you know what I'm saying? And they're probably gonna build something on it later.
Because yams were in Africa.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. I'll give you something for y'all.
Look, I
Or
guess.
just died, period. They're not going to have a special burial. You know, they're not going to.
You can see where people brought flowers. There were flowers here. And they laid them out. Look, Ruth. Ruth. There's a yam. Because yams were in Africa.
Yeah.
There you go. Not
So
no
this-
chitlins, my brother. I'm just joking.
Right next to the slave trail. Richmond's African burial ground. You can see a lot of people they burn candles. I don't know what that one is. That's some eggs or something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, some other stuff going on there. I don't.
And
There you go.
1834 to 1919. And there, from what I can read, her slave owner, once slave was over with, he gave her the house and 100 acres. And they said records suggested, though, 6 children. 4.
I'm sorry. I'll go back a little bit just so you can hear it.
This house is the former house of Emily Winfrey. And 1834 to 1919. And there, from what I can read, her slave owner, once slave was over with, he gave her the house and 100 acres. And they said records suggested, though, that he fathered her 6 children, 4 of whom were born into slavery. So her and all of her children lived into this house. And then she rented rooms for other people, 2 other people.
All right, so yeah, y'all see Lumpkin's jail. Then
This is the burial site.
the trail goes on and on. They show Gabriel Prosser too, I think.
So give me a thumbs
That
It's for
No,
money.
it's just downtown
Before
talking
you
and
get
stuff.
into
I
real
think they show
claims.
Gabriel
So
Prosser thing.
it's good. Hopefully they can correct it.
I don't know what they
Burial
showed.
ground, and we found this. Someone created a monument, and it's a different monument.
All right. We super behind on it. I'll try to get through as much as I can. I hope I can get through as much as I can. Because I ain't gonna be on here super late. And you could still jump in anytime you want to, but I'm gonna let it play a little bit. And some people don't even believe it, but I don't know where that comes from. But I'm not gonna get into all the specific details, but if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask. We can definitely talk about it. But I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard about the details about what was going on in those slave forts where they were housed until they were shipped off. Now, anybody who showed any signs of having a rebellious side or they thought they were going to fight back, they were kept in small confinement cells, similar to what you would find in prison today when they put somebody in the hole. Now, they called it, especially around Ghana, the door of no return, because once somebody was taken away, they usually never came back. Now, on the ships, of course, you were shackled the same way that you would shackle a prisoner, right? And they even did this to impregnated women. Now, the complicated thing is I do see a lot of cases where the numbers get mixed up, where the official record will say like 100 people or something, but some document will say 400 people. And I know sometimes people take those numbers out of context. And that is where a lot of confusion comes through. But the conditions on those ships were so horrible. Some people tried to kill themselves or throw themselves overboard. Now, for those of you who deny it, think about what it was like and how horrible it was for white sailors in the 1700s with far less technology than we have today. Now, imagine how they treated prisoners, right? Let alone slaves, but imagine how they treat a prisoner. And if you don't think those voyages were horrible, I don't know what to tell you. But yes, some people chose to throw themselves overboard as opposed to be a slave. And some people drowned to avoid being found. Some people couldn't swim at all. And I'm sure you heard in the movie Black Panther, Killmonger say, "Bury me in my ancestors who knew it was better to be dead than in bondage." Right? I'm sure y'all heard of that. But I have heard some people say that during this period of a couple hundred years, that so many people died in these waters that the sharks changed their migration patterns. Now, I'm not sure how true that is, but I have heard that. Now, those who refused to eat, they were usually threatened with violence or, they faced flat out violence. And they also have this tool that, somebody found that used to punch out your teeth and it helps them force food down your throat. So it'll knock out your front teeth so they can stuff food down your throat. Because there were people who refused to eat in protest. Now, anyone that got sick, really ill or really injured, was usually thrown overboard. But don't get it twisted like they were only killing themselves or protesting by not eating or something like that. These people were actually fighting back. And according to their records, at least 1 out of every 10 ships reported some kind of rebellion or mutiny.
For some backstory, according to a lecture given by Stephen C. Lupkeman in the Transatlantic Slave Database, which tracks slaving ships, there were an estimated 30,000 plus different voyages with a documented 1,008 plus vessels that shipwrecked with slaves on board. However, we have to note this is a massive underrepresentation of the true total number of slaver shipwrecks due to shoddy record keeping, the amount of time that has passed, and the fact that most of these wrecks have yet to be found. There's a fair estimation that there are 3 to 4 times the number of wrecks out there that aren't discovered. With the sinking of slaving vessels, there is a chance for marine archaeologists to connect the dots between hidden transcripts and resistance to slavery. What I mean by this is that it is estimated between 15% and 20% of slaving ships that wrecked sank because of an act of rebellion on board. Although São José Paquete Africa, or the São José for short, is not one of these rumored vessels, there were some discovered prior to 2015 that were suspected to have sunk under these circumstances. That gives us a very interesting, sad perspective on the sinking of slave ships. According to the New York Times, the ship traversed oceans and between multiple continents, from small fishing villages in Africa to Europe and the New World. What we do know is that the ship departed from Lisbon sometime in 1794, going then to the Mozambique Islands on the east coast of Africa and departing from there on December 3rd, 1794. It's known currently as the Lion's Head in Cape Town. They struck this reef right near Cape Town at 2 a.m. on December 27th, 1794, though the ship was not sinking for the time being. The sinking was a slow death, and they were able to affix a line to the shore and haul people off the ship. And by people, I mean the people they deemed
So they do got stuff, huh?
the Portuguese crew, and about 280 enslaved people. However, unfortunately, in the slow sinking, 212 would perish with the São José Paquete Africa, and 12 more would die within a week after the disaster. This wreck happened fairly close to the shore. The only way the 280 that did survive managed to get off the sinking ship was because of the line tied to the shore. These people that did survive were sadly sold 2 days after the disaster. We know the information we do from the paraphrased inquiry into the sinking and the
I'm gonna try to
testimony of
skip ahead a
Captain
little bit.
disembarked the vessel
Actually,
on
you was talking
At
for a
least 3
minute.
mutinies on slave ship from his book in 1734. In his book,
I saw some
in
proof
another
here.
case, an English slave ship captain, William Snellgrave, or however you pronounce his name, wrote about at least 3 mutinies on slave ship from his book in 1734. And his
Yeah, the
book is
truth is
called
though,
New Account.
the problem, it is a problem, but we could never know how many black people actually, like, even if you go like look up like unarmed black men police shooting, you'll see like 15 names of like probably in the last like 6 months of people that we'll never know about. So many cases. And imagine like 1700s, 1800s, how many cases of so we can't even have a number of how many of us have died behind this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the crazy part, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we can only guess, but yeah, like I said, that's facts, you know.
Of some parts of Guinea in the slave trade, which was published in 1734. So you can read it yourself. Now, in his book, he was trying to tell other slave ship captains that kindness to slaves was probably going to end up in a rebellion, and he was trying to encourage them to treat them as harshly as they could. And he ended up writing about a mutiny on a ship called Fur's Galley, or the Fur Rebellion. And he said the captain was way too kind to the Negroes, and it led to his destruction. Now, he also wrote about 2 other mutinies on slave ships. But, you know, according to them, there are over 485 rebellions on slave ships. And if you try to go through every single one, then we'd be here forever. But we will talk about a few as we get to it. But, you know, they say the French, the Dutch, and the British were the ones who kept the best record. So we have the most information with them. But their numbers include every single instance of disobedience to a flat out mutiny. It could be one person on the ship just not listening and they would count that, or it could be a full on mutiny where they took over the ship. Now, most of the rebellions, especially the successful ones, happened right on the coast of Africa before they could get anywhere. And they say that 485 number includes 93 attacks by Africans from the shore before the ships could even pull off. And I think that the more that we know about how much we actually fought back and the real aspects of it and the destinations and more information, and we studied it more, you know, there'd be less debate about it. But, you know, like I said, we'll be here forever if we go down the list. But we will touch on a few more in future lessons, you know, especially the major ones. Now, as for the Danish, Denmark got into the slave trade in 1657. And by 1718, they were in control of the St. John Island in the Virgin
Damn, we didn't even talk about the main topic
Now,
yet.
these
Damn.
Danish people from Denmark, they were the ones that started referring to the slaves as black gold. And I'm sure you heard the term black gold around like Ghana and stuff like that. Now, before, in the first or second lesson, we did touch on some African tribes.
Yeah, thanks, my brother. There's tons and tons of information. Like, you know, I just was like, girl, all I did was ask what happened in the 17. I knew the main talking point. Oh, the first black slave owner was black. The first slave owner. Yeah, that wasn't true. All of these things. Abraham Lincoln, he ain't free not one person. So I wonder what happened in the 1700s. And then like you just go on a rabbit hole, and then you can go all the way back to the beginning, which is what the Europeans anyway, roughly is like the 1430s and stuff like that up until right now. The second,
May have had some kind of involvement in the slave trade.
yeah, the
One tribe that we
main
didn't mention
topic
that
here.
was heavily involved was the Akwamu tribe. Now, they traded with the Danish, who gave them rum and guns
The
in
eternal
exchange
wake
for
up
them to
call.
go and attack surrounding tribes and bring them more slaves. And we know in a lot of cases when they say Africans sold other Africans, it's not genuine and there's a lot of circumstances around it. But with the Akwamu tribe, they were known for being harsh towards Africans. They were trying to be like Europeans, but they weren't as savage as them, but they were trying their best. But then in 1730, their king died and it left them vulnerable because they had been attacking all of the surrounding tribes. And now that they didn't have their leader, they were unable to protect themselves. So then those surrounding tribes were able to capture them and they sold them to the same Danish people that they were selling their people to. And now the Akwamu people got to see firsthand that loyalty, allegiance, or any of that kind of stuff doesn't mean anything to Europeans. And Europeans were there to make slaves, not friends. Because even though they...
Well, and I even credit myself. Europeans are there to make slaves and not friends, right? And the question is, do we give them a pass because it's 1730 something, right? Or do we not? I would say probably not. It's 1733, bro. Like, you don't know Europeans don't, maybe they don't, I don't know. So the question is, do we give these people a pass or do we not?
They did business with them at first. Once they were captured, they were sent to St. John in the Virgin Islands. And they sent everybody, including the king, prince, noblemen, businessmen, all of them. Now in St. John, slaves outnumbered whites by over 900, and most of the plantation owners lived in St. Thomas, and they hired overseers to run their plantation. And in some cases, they were black, and other cases, they were black Europeans, if you know what I mean. Now, understand that not every form of rebellion is just that outright act of violence or, physical altercation that we can see. Many of the slaves used their knowledge of nature, of plants, basically used herbology to poison and kill the slave owners. Now, most of the
This
time
is
they
a point
relied on the
we're gonna
slave
talk
owners
about
to eat
in a
their
minute
food,
after this.
and they would take that opportunity to put poison in their food. And they really couldn't tell the difference because the symptoms were pretty much the same as the diseases they were getting on the island, often dependent on their ability to make food and their knowledge of plants to heal them, right? But they were actually poisoning them. But it was just too hard for them to detect. Now, whether they died from disease or poison, they usually blame slaves for everything. So they ended up passing harsher laws. And if anybody was found guilty of poisoning somebody, they received 3 pinches from a red hot pincer and then were placed on a breaking wheel. And a lot of times they just accuse you without any evidence. But anybody who tried to escape slavery was sentenced to 150 lashes and either their ear or maybe their leg was cut off. If another slave knew somebody was going to try to escape and didn't warn or tell on them, they were burnt on the forehead and got 100 lashes just because they didn't snitch. If a Negro, whether free or enslaved, even attempted to hit a European, they were hung immediately. And even when a slave owner asked for a pardon, they just cut their right hand off. Now, despite all of these laws, it didn't stop the Akwamu people from fighting back and starting their
I
own
probably say the
rebellion.
name wrong and stuff. You probably know how to say it
The
better than me.
Akamu
So.
leaders begin to plan a coordinated campaign of revolution. Meanwhile, others take more immediate action. Their only weapon, a lethal knowledge of nature. The slaves recognize on St. John many of the same plants and herbs that grow in Africa. The evidence supports historical accounts that
Yeah, my brother, that's what we're going to end on.
African herbal cures to survive the tropics. But according to Danish records, being at one with nature could prove hazardous to your health. Get on the wrong side of your cook, and you might want to think twice about diving into that turtle soup.
Uh-oh.
By 1733, poisoning is a leading cause of death on St. John.
Uh-oh.
For the victims, it's hard to see it coming. The effects of poisons made from the island's plants create symptoms that resemble those of tropical diseases that run rampant in the Caribbean. Père Labat, a French priest, writes this report.
The secret and insidious manner in which the crime is generally perpetrated make legal proof of it extremely difficult.
Yeah, this cracker.
Suspicions have been frequent, but their detections are rare.
Governor Gardelin puts a brutal new slave code into effect to scare the Africans into submission.
They was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Paragraphs give plantation owners free rein to inflict inhuman punishments on their field hands and servants.
Oh, that's all the
A
incentive.
slave who attempts to poison his master shall be pinched 3 times with red-hot pinches and then broken on a wheel. Any slave, knowing of the intention of others to run away.
By the way, so now you don't take baths and you get sick because you don't take baths and you blame me and you torture me because you don't take baths. It's crazy, right? Like you don't even like if you put the whole context together, like not just like this one thing, like this was sick, but why they was doing it is even sicker. Like they retarded psychopaths. It's crazy.
Shall be burned on the forehead and receive 100 lashes. Each runaway slave shall lose 1 leg, or if the owner pardons him, shall lose 1 ear and receive 150 lashes. A slave who lifts a hand to strike a white person or threatens him with violence shall be hanged. Should the white person demand it, if pardoned, he shall lose his right hand.
Along with other Akwamus, King June and Prince Akashi seize the day. Armed with makeshift weapons and a handful of stolen guns, they plan their revolution. The morning of November 23rd, Prince Akashi and King June select 2 targets. The first is plantation owner Johannes Satner. Some believe the slaves knew he was close to the governor and savagely attacked in revenge for Gardelin's brutal slave code. As the whip changes hands, the brutality of the master now becomes that of the slave. Meanwhile, a few miles away, a group of slaves arrive at the fort with a routine delivery of firewood. Hidden in the bundles are razor-sharp knives. Archaeologists find several of these tools at the Cinnamon Bay site.
This is the cane knife found just off the shore in Cinnamon Bay.
Experts suspect at least one female rebel is motivated by ties of blood and love. Her name is Brefu. On the afternoon of the revolt, she joins a raiding party headed here to Brown Bay.
It was here that as the uprising spread from Coral Bay into the countryside, that the planters at Brown Bay were amongst the first to feel the brunt of the rebels' resolve.
The plantation is the scene of a bloodbath. Killed is a colonist named Croyer, his wife and children.
They were not able to afford full-grown, healthy adult slaves, so they had purchased 2 children.
While the deaths are brutal, the motive is universal.
It's quite possible that as the rebellion
It's not
spread to this
X, Y, the
area,
babies.
the Croyers were singled out in an effort to save those children.
Now, the Akwamu tribe saw themselves as
I'll
wealthy merchants,
go through this
as
and then we're gonna
nobles,
stop after this.
leaders, as royalty, and most importantly, they saw themselves
We ain't even
as
talk
free
about it
people.
yet.
Now, the issue with them, they thought they were also better than other African tribes or other black people. And they felt like other black
Original
people should
FBA.
be their
Like,
slaves.
I'm playing.
So they made a plan amongst themselves to take over the entire island. Led by King June, who was the king when they was captured. The first person they planned to kill was a slave owner who was friends with the governor who issued out those laws. And they did that to send a message to let them know they were coming for their freedom. Well, as they killed the governor's friend, a group of other slaves were making routine deliveries of firewood to the fort, but they armed themselves with machetes that they
All right,
used
I
to
guess
cut
y'all
sugar.
kind of heard the story
The
already, so we
Kwame
can
knew
skip
it,
it a little bit.
and this time they used it against them to ambush them. And when they came to the meeting place, they killed as many of them as they could. Now it's clear the Akwamu were skilled warriors, and they killed a lot of people and took the land. And they even had women involved in their movement. And one group was led by a woman named Brefa. And I'm sorry if I got that name wrong, but this sister fought to get her children that was taken back, according to the story. Now, this rebellion, led by only one tribe, the Akwamu tribe, was able to make all of the Europeans flee from the island and essentially turn themselves into an independent Black country. Now, the problem for the Akwamu is they made a lot of enemies with Black people. You know, they were involved in selling a lot of people who were on the island who was not supporting their revolution anyway. They only wanted their people in the rebellion because they wanted to enslave other Black people, right? They just wanted to be the ones in control. They felt that they weren't the slaves, but they felt they were better than other Black people. But it made it harder for them because they made so many enemies with other Black people. Now, the Danish eventually joined forces with the French and Swiss armies. So the Akwamu realized they had to include other Black people in their rebellion. And they tried to make a deal and offer money and freedom to anybody who was willing to help join them on the front lines. But of course, they didn't get a lot of support from other Black people. But even with that, initially, the three European countries working together, the Danish, the French, and the Swiss, still couldn't beat the Akwamu, and they couldn't retake the land, even though they had more weapons. The Akwamu stayed in power on the island for about 10 months. And if they didn't make enemies with other Black people, who knows how long it would have lasted? Maybe forever. But eventually, it was too many European countries working together, too many soldiers, and too many weapons, and they eventually overpowered them. Now, some people escaped into the swamp and the woods, but everybody who was captured was killed. Most of them was beheaded. Some of them was hanged. Some of them was burnt at the stake. Some was just tortured until they died. Now, they did find a lot of people, but most of them chose to commit suicide before they were captured and tortured or re-enslaved or anything. And when they got cornered, you know, they just killed themselves. Or again, in the words of Killmonger, death is better than bondage for them. Now, this rebellion lasted from 1733 to 1734, but it was eventually ended and things became even more harsh. But anytime a revolt happens, especially one when a lot of white people get killed, the news is going to spread to European colonies throughout the world. And that news is going to spread along with white fear. So in 1735, South Carolina passed a law requiring free Negroes to leave the colony. Now, in 1733, Georgia was founded, and initially it was.
All right, we can stop it there, right? And this is not to make this long, right? But we talked about Black Gold. Y'all could watch it, watch whatever you want. Look up Black Gold. Not gonna watch it,
Well, after the petrol spills, it can catch fire.
but guess who the most valuable thing ever was? It was you. People, it doesn't matter. As Amos Wilson said, it doesn't matter what's in the ground. What matters is what's in your mind. And they knew the easiest way to enslave a group of people was to enslave a group of people who never knew freedom, because the ones who was free would be down to fight for it. Now, the thing that we do have to talk about, not to make this long, but this will be the last thing, all right? But now I don't know if, because we do have to talk about this, right? Because this is not what they talk about with African soul or Africa. Now, there's always going to be some Sheriff David Clarks, right? And there's always going to be some we better than you type mindset, right? And I said, right, do we give them a pass because it's like 1733? Or do we not give them a pass because it's 1733? You don't know what by now? So it's up to y'all. I don't know. But I say no. No, they don't get no pass. But at the same time, right? What happens, what they don't tell you is most of the times the ones working with the Europeans end up getting kidnapped by the Europeans, you know? And so you get your Negro wake up call, right? This eternal wake up call where we keep trying to hit the snooze button, but it'll never work, right? And so in modern terms, oh, go ahead, my brother, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Yeah, man. Hey, look, that was a great job you did, man, about the Aquamo Rebellion in the Virgin Islands, man, in St. John's. You know, I read about Brett Fu.
Thank you, bro.
You know, I read about that. You know, man, you're a bad dude, man. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
You're smarter than me, brother. Stop it.
Well, we both know stuff. Well, check this out. Okay. This is a thing that always come up. Well, Africans so love Africa. Matter of fact, I had a conversation with a brother this past week, you know, on IG, and he was saying like, yeah, they the ones they sold African Americans, and I had to like, brother, it wasn't no African Americans in Africa. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said. They sold us. He said they sold African Americans. What I'm saying, there was no tribe in Africa called, no ethnic group in Africa called African Americans. There was none. They were Africans, and they were from their specific groups. Okay, now this is where I want to go with it, forecast. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, say you had you had the Africans who follow Islam. You had the Africans who follow traditional African belief systems. Okay. Now that right there was something that was a big divide among our people. Not the only one, that was just one. Because when a lot of these our ancestors converted to Islam, what they did, they didn't just convert to the religion. They became, like Dr. Clark said, they became Arabists. You know, here they go changing names. And, you know, you already worship another god. You change your names. You know, you like a black Arab. Like, you know, in the case of Sudan or in Somalia, you know what I'm saying? Well, these people, black as you and me, but call themselves Arabs. Okay, so they became acculturated to the colonizers, to the conquerors, the people who conquered them. You know what I'm saying? And they took on their identity, much like we black people, African people here in America, took on identity and call ourselves American. Man, the worst thing you could do is call yourself an American, even an African American or black American. No, I use it for context. But I'm just saying, because an American is a white man. Is a white man, a white woman. Is a European, a white settler from Europe. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Now, just imagine you had that dynamic of the Islamic versus the traditional African. And the thing that the Islamic wanted to do was stamp out traditional Africans. The Arabs looked at Africans as inferior people, as savages, just like the Europeans did. We were savages. We was uncouth savages, backwards, ain't contributed nothing. They was very racist. You know what I'm saying? In order for us to be civilized, we had to embrace Islam. That's what the Nation of Islam say. The Muslims say Islam is a civilizing force. What the hell you mean civilizing force? Okay, yeah, I know what you mean. So what I'm saying, you had that dynamic. You know, we all heard the story of the Lion King, where the Lion King was based off of the first Mandinka king, founder of the Mandinka Empire, Sundiata Keita. That was the Lion King. That's what that story is based off. And his story, which is popular in West Africa, was him defeating Samara Kante, who was the traditional African, who they called the witch doctor, because he believed in the traditional belief system. You know, and here goes Sundiata representing Islam and the spread of Islam throughout West Africa. So really, in actuality, Samara Kante was the good guy, and Sundiata Keita was the bad guy. But it's reversed now, though. Okay, moving along to the about the selling of Africans. Okay, African selling Africans. Okay, now you have a kingdom like you have the Ashanti kingdom, you have the kingdom of Dahomey, you have the Oyo kingdom, the Benin kingdom, the different kingdoms in West Africa, the Bakongo kingdom in Central Africa, different kingdoms. Okay, what we do, what I want to just pick on FB, but what these Negroes who always talking about the African soul Africa, what they do is this right here. They will say Pan-Africanism is dead today, but they believe in Pan-Africanism when it comes to this. Well, they sold Africa. Why they sold their brothers and sisters? You know what I'm saying? They Africans. No, they don't differentiate between nations and ethnic groups. You know what I'm saying? The Oyo King, they were Yoruba speaking people. The Benin people were Yoruba people. The Dahomey people were phone speaking people. These were different people. These were different groups, different nations. You know what I'm saying? They were different nations. Okay, and they had different traditions and different cultures. Well, yeah, they had similarities, but these were different people. And so the kingdom of Dahomey was actually founded because of the Yoruba people, because of the Benin kingdom or the Oyo kingdom had been victimizing them. They had been selling people from their part of West Africa. You know what I'm saying? It was Dahomeyan people, foreign people who were getting sold. So as a defense mechanism, they strengthened themselves militarily and say, we ain't gonna be the victims no more. We're gonna start doing the victimizing. You got to read the history of the kingdom of Dahomey so you can understand. But see,
there was a bunch of different tribes that came to one, right?
Yeah, but see, people here like me and you know that, but see, these Negroes over here don't know that. Because see, they'll just make statements or they'll just read something what they read. They make statements, but they don't go and study in depth, you know, about, oh, why did this happen? And then they'll study. And the thing that really get me is that they'll go for the black, sell it black, but they'll rule out the European. They don't go based on the European. Because no Africans getting on ships going to Europe and say, hey, y'all, we got some slaves down there for sale. They didn't do that. It was the Europeans came to Africa for that. After they had colonized America and slaughtered indigenous people, needed work, a labor force. But see, they don't think like that. All they want to go to is because I ain't no African. You know what I'm saying? Because Africans sold us, and they want to just dwell on that part right there, on that narrative. Where the African sold Africa. Not realizing that these people are different people. You know what I'm saying? A French person, a Spanish person, a German person are different. They white folks, they all hunkies to me, but I'm saying they different than Ukrainians. Different language, different culture, different customs, different history. The Ukrainians, than Croatians, you know what I'm saying, than people from Eastern Africa, from Bulgaria, Hungary. They white folks, but they different. They have different languages and customs and all of that. Now, we could understand that part, but we can't understand it when it comes to us. That's because of the superior brainwashing. You know what I'm saying? And the divide and conquer thing. We look past the part that Europeans came and say, look here, well, we'll give y'all some guns. We'll exploit this. We'll give y'all some guns. We'll give you the Dahomey people some guns so y'all can fight against some Oyo people, against that Benin Kingdom people. You know what I'm saying? Or we'll give you Bakongo people some guns so y'all can fight against these other invaders that's coming to your country. But look here, and when we help you defeat them, what we want you to do, them prisoners of war that you got, give them to us so we can take them across this water and work on our plantations over here. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That's what they did. And what they did also was they laid there and they talked to the other people who was fighting Bakongo, and they said, we'll do the same thing for you. So we win in both ways. But see, we don't understand that part. And all we'll go to is what? Well, all Africans sold Africans, black people sold Africans. We don't go to the divide and conquer thing and how the Europeans manipulate things. We let him off the hook and have smoke for us, like in modern day times. Crips, Bloods. We'll kill each other. We'll do all that to each other, and we'll let the white boy off. When he come through, like Dr. Carter said, he'll have rat pee on cotton. You know what I'm saying? When the Mexicans come through, we lose our courage. But we'll have smoke for each other. You know what I'm saying? I landed right there. That's why I had to make that point, because see, these Negroes are stupid with this bullshit, man. You know what I'm saying? We become historical.
Yeah, no, yeah, and I'll say something to what you're saying, but let me ask you real quick. So would you give these people, the Kwamu people, I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm sorry if I was colonized by the British, all right? Y'all got to give me a pass, right? But these people, do you give them a pass for what has transpired?
Okay. Will I give them a pass?
I say 17. Now I'm just saying it's 1733. They may not know yet. Like,
yeah, I got you. See, because this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna preface that with this. These people were not Pan-Africanists. They were not me and you. today where we believe in black people sticking together and black unity. This was another different nation versus my nation. Okay, do I give them a pass for what they did? No, I hold them accountable for what they did. I hold them accountable, but I also hold them accountable in context. I know that in their minds, hey, we trying to survive for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I get that part. You know, they took some of the old stuff from Africa, like we was a strong kingdom and these other people was up under us. You know what I'm saying? And you
No,
know,
no, and I want you to know, I ain't saying like for the people who don't know the info. I'm saying between me and you, like just like because I know you know whatever. I'm just saying, like in your opinion, you know, like would you?
Okay. In a nutshell, I hold them accountable for what they did. Yeah, I hold them accountable for what they did. Yes, they were guilty of what they did. It was bad what they did. But I'm saying, but also hold them accountable. We also had to put it in context, though. That's all I'm saying. Let's put it in context. Yeah, they were wrong for what they did, doing to other Africans. You know what I'm saying? And not realizing that we in a fight. That's just like right here. How you got Negroes, the elite Negroes, who look down on the street Negroes, on the hood Negroes. You know what I'm saying? Like Garvey. I mean, like W.B. Du Bois with his education and everything. Look down on Garvey, calling him ugly and all of this. His ugliness, his black ugliness and stuff. That same mentality exists today. But look here, I know a brother from Richmond, Virginia, who told me, I ain't gonna hate on the coon like that. I'm gonna get a coon a chance. You know that brother?
No, I ain't gonna say. No, I don't know about giving them a chance now. I just
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Okay, that's the same thing. What I'm saying, hey, giving them a chance, that's the same thing as I ain't gonna be that hard.
No, don't give them a chance to stab you in the back. I ain't gonna go that far. But
what I'm saying,
I ain't gonna be like I understand their sickness more. So
no, what I'm saying, giving them a chance to redeem themselves.
I don't know.
Giving them a chance. I'm gonna give them a chance to redeem themselves. Hey. If a family member do something to you and he's a family member that you love, they made a mistake, they might have been on drugs or whatever. Once you lay there, hey, okay, at least one time, I'm gonna turn the other cheek because you my family member, my blood, I had love for you. I'm gonna give you another chance. I ain't gonna just say fuck you, I don't fuck with you no more.
Hey, look, put it this way, right? If John Brown himself come back from the dead and call Candace Owens a nigga, I'm gonna be on Candace Owens' side. I'm gonna say it right like that.
Yeah, and we know it was no such thing as John Brown. But yeah, if that happened. But all I'm saying is, look here, you gonna if your mama, your daddy, I mean whatever family member who you love, gotta love, if they messed up with you, you ain't gonna just one time they messed up with you, been good all their life. You gonna lay there and give them a chance to redeem themselves. You ain't gonna say I don't fuck with you no more.
We have to see. It depends on how. Yeah, I mean, I will. But look,
I know one thing. I put it this way. I know one thing. You ain't gonna do your mama like that.
Well,
the woman who gave birth to you.
No, yeah, because my mom, like, I mess with her all the time.
But I'm just saying, what if she made a mistake? Yeah, what if she made a mistake?
Huh?
What if she made a mistake? And then because you know how our people is. Even my mom, we growed up on white Jesus, and
I know.
And guess some of them have coonish ways. You know what I'm saying?
But that's why I said back then, right, when I was saying it, right, because if you be like, we got to go after the clones first, right? Are you willing to take out the one that you love the most, right? It could be your mama. It could be because you don't want to say this person is a clone. I could say look, my mama got clone tendencies. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Look, I'll give you a perfect example right there. I can't use me, but I'm gonna use him. George Jackson, who was a Black Panther Party member who was in prison, the founder of the Black Guerrilla family and everything. Okay, he got locked up because his auntie snitched on him. His mama's sister snitched on him, and her thing was she told the police on him because she didn't want she didn't want him to get killed. You know how you done heard that before. I'd rather him be in jail than to get killed. You know what I'm saying? And that was his auntie, and he talked about how much he loved his auntie and how he forgave her. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so I mean, I'm just giving you that's an example right there. You know
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's why I'd be like, I'm not, because I think the thing is though, I realized that you understand what a clone is, like, but when it comes to love, our logic is blinded or something. So you don't realize that that person you hanging with all the time, if you go after them first, that's the first person you better go after. You better not come after mine until you go after yours first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, but see,
Like
this
go
is
after the manufacturing center. Let's do that.
yeah,
If they in the
yeah.
way, then so be
But
it. You know.
but see, this is it. This is it though. You have people who have intelligence, supreme wisdom, intelligence. I thank God. I thank the Creator. I was born with that. You born with it. You got it too. And other people were born with it. We had. I mean, we have the we had the gift of discernment. To see this one thing, like say we in a movement, in a revolutionary movement, we doing thing. One thing that I'm not gonna do, I know because I know how it go, and I had the discernment. This is where the discernment kicks in. I'm not gonna let my family know about it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be the last one to know about it. I'm not
Hey,
gonna tell.
look.
Listen to.
You
I'm
know
not
what?
gonna tell mama what I'm doing.
Hey, depending on
I'm gonna
what
do
you.
my stuff somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look. Depending on what you're doing, don't let nobody know what you're doing. Depending
Yeah,
on
I
how
mean
far
that
the
too. That too. But I'm
organization.
that. Yeah, that 100%. But what I'm addressing that point where we was just talking about,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if their
facts. No,
family don't.
I agree with you. And
You know, you
let
don't.
me say that. Mhm.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna say. Let me say this right, because I do have to say right, because I'm glad that you said what you said earlier, right. I want you to understand the context of everything that I'm saying. That every live that I have that I probably shouldn't have, that I haven't talked about enough. All of that context comes from the dirty Arabs doing it 1,000 years before that, right? With the religion thing, right? And that brings us to the problem that we have to this very day, right? And is the tribalist mindset. Black people have never ever understood, and that's why I don't even be talk, because I understand the mindset of like black people in America. We realize we had to put whatever tribal. If you ask me, I can't tell you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't tell you which tribe, nation, or whatever. I can look at my DNA and stuff like that and see where it comes from and stuff like that, but I cannot tell you like anything like that. And even when I say this, you know what I'm saying, like I only saw one person who could be like they can go past the 1600s, and really you got to go past the 1400s to say where you're from. You know what I'm saying? And even then, it still doesn't mean that's where you're from. It just means you whatever. And that, yes, black people, I believe, is evidence that traveled the world. You know what I'm saying? But it's still, the point is like it wasn't just religion. It was because we spoke different languages. You know what I'm saying? It's because we prayed to different gods. It was because we did different things. You know what I'm saying? And somehow, even to this day, we look at every other group, black in this, black in that, black in, you know what I'm saying, unity, but we won't look at it in each other. And when I be like, do we give them a pass? Because I'd be like, after 1700s, I don't think I can give black people a pass because you think that you're different. And was there a Sheriff David Clark back then? And will it be a Sheriff David Clark 200 years from now? Yes, there will always be. So whatever plans that you make, you have to incorporate that now into your plans. If we know we're gonna have an organization that's gonna get infiltrated, so what is the counter to that at that point? You know what I'm saying? It's not just, oh, if we do this, they're gonna do that, right? And that brings us to the eternal wake up call, because the Kwame tribe, they got their wake up call. You understand? They was willing to fight. Um, and once they understood, and even then, it took the Europeans aligning to try to align. And if they had not had this elitist attitude, because I'm gonna be honest, if we gonna stop saying, because I get it, right? Because this is a tricky topic. I'd say it's like the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? Like we got this, we're over here. We had our experience. We do things the way that we do it. This group over here does things the way that they do it. But that's your ethnicity, you know what I'm saying? Like we can compete with each other, but then when the world comes, we're on the same team. You understand? Like instead of trying to be on everybody else's team. And I get that like we all have our own different things, you know what I'm saying? And we should be able to have our own tribes, but we never learn how to put our tribal differences to the side, period. And that's the problem that we hear today, because if we're gonna say that black people in America don't have, and I'm not going. If you're American, Sheriff David Clark is a damn American. You know, African American is an African who's been Americanized. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always felt that term was disrespectful, or I never liked that term for a long time, for my own reasons. You know, but if we can't be like our experience, we all have our unique experiences, right? If we're gonna do that, we can't say Jamaican, we can't say Nigerian, we can't say not like, because I understand all of that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like I do see like when black people in America, but the problem is, right, it's the universal problem that we have, right? And it's the eternal wake-up call that we'll get, because a lot of us not gonna
White
get it.
racists have weaponized our own people against us. And today, I'm breaking down the 4 types of black betrayal that keep us shackled. Level 1, the house slave. Meet Steven, the house slave who loves his chains so much, he'll kill to keep them on. This ain't just a movie character, y'all. This is the blueprint for the most toxic black person in America.
That's who the hell you calling Snowball, hoss boy? I'll snatch your black off that nag down here in the mud so fast, make your head.
Go ahead, my brother. And you can just jump in anytime you want to jump in. You can jump in and say something.
Okay, all right.
Steven,
I almost said that, baby. That fucked me up. Hey, I mean, I was listening. I was looking at that. I was laughing at that video that Samuel Jackson. That made me forget what I was gonna say. Okay. What? Okay. All right. What I was gonna say is okay. 2 things. Okay, we'll say this for another conversation about the Africans and about Africans here, Africans there. I mean, okay, about what you talking about the ethnicities and how far you got to go. I've been doing a little research, man. You don't have to go back to that far. You know what I'm saying? I did some research on Africans who were brought to Virginia, to the Upper South region, the Carolinas and everything. I did some research on where majority of them were brought from. You know, I did some research on it. So you don't have to go back that far. You know what I'm saying? Okay, but that's the one topic
I'm talking about when people be like going back with their genealogy and they be like, oh yeah, I trace my grandparents to 1800 and be like, I'm from here. I'm saying with the people be like,
I got you, but see, I mean, like you said, but that was intentional. You know, that was intentional. They didn't keep they kept records about enslaved Africans, but a lot of times they wouldn't tell you. Sometimes they would say what region they was from, of Africa they was from, and sometimes they would just say a girl named Mandy or whatever. That's the name that they gave them, but they didn't tell you that this girl was from the Congo or from different parts. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. You know what I'm saying? And so, because see, like I could trace back to my great grandmother. Her name was Sarah McGee from here in Louisiana, and she was born like in the 1840s. I know about in the 1840s. I know she was born enslaved. Well, okay, I'm still doing research. What I'm saying though is that most people, hell, a lot of white folks don't even trace their ancestors back there far. You know what I'm saying? Because they got to go back to old countries over in Ireland and whatever to do shit. But what
I'm saying like for the people who be like, oh, my people didn't come from Africa, you got to go back further than the 1800s.
This is what I'm coming to. That's what I'm coming to. Because I've heard that plenty of times too. And like I said, just because it was a lot of raping of African women, so you get these different colors and stuff. And then you had like especially here in Louisiana, you had quadroons, octoroons, these different racialized categories of black people of people. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of and then these people who you hear say this shit, like I say, they are very ahistorical. They study surface shit. They don't go back deeper than that. They say, oh, see that? I ain't no African. You know what I'm saying? I'm an Indian. I got Indian in my family. You know what I'm saying? One thing, it made me laugh because I'm gonna send you I got a picture. I got a picture of my great grandmother forecast, and I can show you. And like the story was that they had some indigenous blood, and I can show you a picture of her, and she looked like one of them too. But I didn't let that override the fact that I know who she was, though. You know, she came from African roots. You know, she may have had a little European there, whatever, because they was doing a lot of raping going on. See, that's one part. It's the powerless that we was powerless, and we felt like we was powerless. That's why we come into this whole denial thing. Okay, but like I said, we're gonna talk about that another time. The other thing, what I was gonna tell you is this. Okay, we talk about black people in America. I'm talking about what you was mentioning. Black people in Jamaica, black people in Haiti, in Brazil, and whatever. Okay, you see a tree. You see a big old tree. A tree got a whole lot of branches. A whole lot of branches. In Africa, a tree got a whole lot of branches. Okay, this whole big African tree. On one branch, you got Yoruba people. You got Hausa, Fulani, Akan, Wolof. You know what I'm saying? You got Dagamba, Bakongo, Umbundu. You know what I'm saying? You got Herero. You got all these different people, man. All these different branches of this tree. You got Makua people from Southeast Africa, Mozambique. You know what I'm saying? You got Kikuyu people in Kenya. This big old African tree got a whole lot of branches. This big old African tree, when the African tree was transplanted over here across this ocean, got a whole lot of branches. Some of them Jamaicans, some of them Haitians, some of them so-called African Americans, some of them Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Colombians.
Ain't no Haitians.
And that tree, the Haitian, I'll say Haitian. This African tree got a lot of branches. Slave ship dropped some of us off in Haiti. It dropped some of us off in Jamaica. It dropped some of us in Louisiana, in Virginia, in Georgia. It dropped us off at all places. And a lot of us who in these certain places, it dropped us off in Jamaica or the Caribbean first, and then took us over here. It took us to Virginia. You know, a different place. It took us from Haiti to Louisiana. It's a different place. I'm saying it's the same tree, different branches. I got a brother named Kofi Piche. He's from Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He got a channel, YouTube channel, Kofi Piche. And he has a publishing company that's called Same Tree, Different Branch. You know what I'm saying? Well, he's talking about it. He's alluding to that. So what I'm saying is we talk these different groups of people, these different Africans in Jamaica and Haiti and Brazil and South America, Central America, the United States. It's still the same tree, but different branches. And it's cool for us. Hey, let's respect our African culture right here. And a lot of Negroes don't even know our African culture right here. I love to sit down and have a conversation about black culture, what real black culture. Some of you Negroes, I'm just saying, some of you Negroes think culture is hip hop. That ain't culture. That ain't our culture. We think it's hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Or we think it's music and entertainment. That ain't it. They're a part of it. But we don't even know what culture is. We don't know what culture is. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know what culture is. The culture is sagging. These niggas think sagging jeans is a culture. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's not culture?
What?
And chitlins. I'm sure.
Well,
I'm just playing, bro.
It's cool. Hey, you know what? I could get with. Hey, I'm cool with it. I could take a little bit of that. Hey, because you know what? Hey, because you know what? Because family members do it worse than that. They talk worse about it than that. You still eat that shit? You know what I'm saying? And I ain't ate none in over years, bro.
Yeah, I wouldn't encourage you to eat it, but I'm just messing with y'all because like I said, I'm a pork chop eater. So what can I say, right?
Hey, look here. They give me the blues about it. My sister-in-law, she be disgusted with me when I bring them in the house. You know Well, I'm just saying though, man. I'm just saying. See, that's a show that we need to do one time when we got a little free time, and we're gonna talk about what black culture is, what real African American culture is, because these niggas don't know what it is. It's a brother that I know you'll be cool with. Wise the Dome. You ever heard of him? Wise the Dome?
Nah.
You never heard Wise the Dome on YouTube? And he came from y'all brothers. You know, y'all gods and earth and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
He came from the gods and earth, like the piece of the gods.
Hey, I'm saying at one time, but he's evolved. He's evolved fully now. You know, he got a channel called Wise the Dome. I'm gonna send some videos to you of him. He's a bad brother. But
ask him is the white man his brother?
Oh hell no.
And so how is he a 5%er?
No, I'm telling you, you to hit a point where I said he evolved.
Okay. Oh, I thought you said
You
he
didn't
was
hear, you
all
didn't hear
in. I
that
ain't hear
part
that
right there?
part. Yeah, I thought you said.
I'm saying he started it off like that. What I'm saying
Oh,
that was
gotcha.
it was his introduction to consciousness. But I'm saying, look, he evolved from that though. Oh
Gotcha.
yeah, you know,
Gotcha.
hey, look, hey brother, you know, I'm not gonna fool with nobody with all that kind of stuff. I
Nah,
mean,
I listen to everybody, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
no, but look here. I started off. My first country was out in Nation of Islam,
Damn,
not the
bro.
5% sport, but in Nation of Islam. That's why I started off. Asiatic black man and all this bullshit.
Yeah, I was about to say something, but I don't because I got
Go
Muslim
ahead,
brothers that
man.
listen.
Go ahead, man. I didn't mean to
No,
take.
no,
Go ahead,
no.
Morgan.
No, I was about to say something about the Islam thing, but I got Muslim brothers that be listening, so I ain't gonna go there with you.
Yeah, you ain't got to talk about it, but guess what? They can have all the smoke for me because I'll blast their ass. I'll blast them in Mecca. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't gonna go there.
No, I'm just playing. I ain't gonna blast them, but I will point out their bullshit though.
Damn.
But
But
go ahead, man.
all
Go ahead, man.
right. Now, all of this still brings us to the topic, right? So I'm gonna go through the rest of this real quick, y'all.
See,
The
Stephen don't
fourth
just serve white
types.
people. He is a white racist in black skin. He's so deep in Stockholm syndrome that he fears freedom more than bondage. Why? Because oppression is all he's ever known, and he's convinced himself that his survival depends on keeping happy. In Django Unchained, Stephen isn't just a servant, that's Uncle Ruckus. Stephen, this man has so internalized his oppression that he sees other black people's freedom as a personal attack on his identity. Sound familiar? That's Uncle Ruckus, the cartoon version of what's very real in our community. These are the black folks who will police you for being too black, who mock our culture to get white folks to pat them on the head and say, you're one of the good ones. But this isn't just comedy, people. This is psychological warfare. The house slave mentality runs so deep that these individuals will literally work against their own people's interests to maintain their position in the white power structure. Herschel Walker literally said, Blackfear wasn't just talking to white. The house slave doesn't just hurt us through their actions. They poison our minds with self-hatred. We're out here telling the stories
I
they
guess I
don't
should have had that.
justice system. Support him because we're family. I'm not black. I'm OJ. These people perfected the art of racial amnesia. They got so comfortable in white spaces that they forgot where they came from. Or worse, they remember, but they're ashamed of it. The assimilationist celebrity plays a different game than the house slave. They don't attack us directly. They just disappear us. They code switch so hard, they develop split personalities. Around white folks? Oh, I don't really see color. But the moment they need us for damage control, suddenly they remember they're black. Tiger Woods literally created a whole new racial
Hey, by the way, the glove did not fit though. I will say that though.
category, Cablinasian, to avoid being called black. This man was so uncomfortable with his African heritage that he invented a word to escape it. But when his career imploded and he
Well, he
needed
is a mulatto, so
black people were supposed to support him because we're family. O.J. Simpson spent decades distancing himself from the black community. He lived in white neighborhoods, dated white
so the assimilation is okay.
in the whitest school. Kids believe that if you just work hard enough, speak white enough, dress right enough, you can escape racism. They teach
What they used to call in the 1600s, if you accepted the ways of the Englishmen, adopted Christianity, and spoke English and stuff like that, you know, bow down to European law, deities, and culture, then but it didn't really work. But that back then, but you know, and a lot of people would become Christians, try to learn their English and accept the ways of the Englishmen.
our children
It's called an Anglophile.
Yeah.
Black is a limitation, not a source of power. Think about how many young black athletes and entertainers have followed this blueprint. They sanitize their image, avoid controversial topics like police brutality or systemic racism, and present themselves as safe for white consumption. They become brands. This is the abandoned. Systemic racism doesn't exist. Ancestors died for people in America today. Why? Because they're for our oppression. Level 3. The puppet politician. Systemic racism doesn't exist in America. This is Candace Owens. This is Clarence Thomas. This is Tim Scott. telling us America isn't a racist country. These are the most dangerous black people in America today. Why? Because they don't just abandon us. They lead the charge against us. They
See, these is Negroes who don't realize that all cooning, like there is no lesser of two evils around the board. When you like your mama may not be to you as bad, but when she's in there telling them, I just ain't want my baby to blow up to crash their system, or we gonna live. We got to live here. And you don't think that's bad, but it's they're the same thing.
I'm the black face of white racism, giving oppressive policies a chocolate coating so they go down easier. Clarence Thomas sits on the highest court in the land and systematically dismantles every protection our ancestors died for. He said that if he had just stayed in Germany, he would have been fine because she was so desperate to own the libs. We're just agreeing with the black lady. But
white on white crime, right?
The world that our ancestors chose to be kidnapped from Africa, chose to be chained in slave ships, chose to be beaten, assaulted, and systematically subdued for 4 centuries. You know what that was? That was Kanye telling white people exactly what they wanted to hear. That slavery wasn't that bad. That black people are responsible for their own oppression. That racism is just a mindset we can choose to overcome. And when he got called, Kanye represents the puppet politician at its most pathetic. Someone so so insidious. Government assistance to the kidnapping times the rate of white people. This man said welfare was worse for black people than slavery. He compared government assistance to the kidnapping and death of millions of African people. But here's what makes the most dangerous betrayal comes from people who genuinely think they're helping us. Level 4, the tragic compromiser. Meet Booker T. Washington, the man who told black people to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, while white folks were cutting the straps. Now, before y'all come for me in the comments, I get it. Booker T. lived in a different time.
I'm just saying, who gives the Booker T. Washington
was a
Award?
weekend hobby for white folks, and this man was trying to keep us alive. But when he gave that Atlanta Compromise speech in 1895, telling black people to focus on vocational training instead of demanding civil rights, he gave
Y'all ain't ready for that conversation yet. Y'all be mad at me.
Cover to continue oppressing us while pointing to his words as proof that even
We'll call it the
while Washington was teaching black
people, the judge name.
White folks were lynching us at record rates. While he was promoting vocational training,
Thurgood Marshall Award.
Black Wall Street. While he was preaching accommodations paved with
all right. So go ahead, my brother.
Hey, poor kids, you know what? Hey man, you know what? You one of them dudes. You one of them.
Hey, look, I ain't trying to be disrespectful.
Oh no, you one of them kids. You one of them kids. You one of them kind of what we used to call one of them chaotic little dudes. You chaotic, you'll throw some shit in there to get a conversation started, to get some shit started.
Hey, I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm gonna say, okay, let me say it like this here let me get on that real quick. What I'm gonna say about Booker T. Washington, to me, I think Booker T. Washington was the spook that sat by the door. Let me put this instance out. I think Booker T. was the spook that sat by the door. Booker T. Okay, like this here. Check this out. I remember a cat told me, he said, in the jungle, he was making an analogy. Because we was talking about the signifying monkey. It was a story. You remember that story about the signifying monkey?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember the story?
Yeah,
You sure? I mean, you ain't just saying that. Agree? You know the story.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, the story about the signifying monkeys. So I ain't got to go through the story. The story, but I'm gonna tell you this was the analogy that he was making. Okay, he said, Big Mac. He was talking to me. They called me Big Mac in the days. They say Big Mac. He said, Big Mac. When you the monkey and you in the jungle, you don't let the lion know where you at. You know what I'm saying? The lion running around hunting, he run around, he trying to get him something to eat. He won't, whatever fall out that tree, he gonna eat it. So he was saying, when you the monkey in the jungle, you the monkey, you don't let the lion know where you at. I understand what he was saying. That was Booker T. Washington. Okay, Booker T, you can say about that, talk about that Atlanta Compromise, and talk about a lot of shit that he wrote in his book, Up From Slavery, and stuff like that. What I'm saying is why I say Booker T was the perfect spook that sat by the door. Booker T pretended. He did a lot of cooning and stuff. He did a lot of pretend cooning. But he did it to get money from the white folks. And Booker T, what I say is this right here. Check this out. Let's look at everybody who criticized Booker T, WB, and other people. Oh, Booker T, old coon, all this old shit right here. What I want you to do.
Ida B. Wells.
Yeah. I'm gonna make an exception for Ida B. Because I'm gonna put it in another context. I understand Ida B. No, she's special. But I'm saying the other ones. But see, Ida B. What I'm saying, because Ida B. Wells was on that ground doing shit. So I don't put her in there because she was a person of action. But WB, the boys, and these other Negroes, all they did was talk and ran their mouth. They did lectures and stuff, but they didn't do nothing concrete on the ground. Matter of fact, when that Atlanta race riot broke out, WB was talking about how he was scared hiding in his house. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is this. All the people who criticized them, they didn't do nothing outside of talking and run their mouth. Booker T, not only did he build Tuskegee Institute into this great black university, one of the premier universities in the world, you know what I'm saying? He do that. But also, not just that, but schools all across the southern part of the United States. I mean, not colleges, but like high schools, elementary schools. Booker T knew one thing. He raised all that money to build schools because he know these were some people right out of slavery. They ain't been out of slavery that long. And we needed some education. We need to learn how to do stuff. We need to know how to work with our hands, trades and skills and stuff like that. That was his main thing. We need to know how to do something with our hands because he wanted us to be able to support ourselves, to make money and to build wealth. He was saying like this, you know, the whole story that the rapper say, the money, power, respect. You know what I'm saying? Because first you get the money. You know what I'm saying? You get the money, and from the money come power, economic power. You know what I'm saying? And then, and from the power come respect. Because, you know, the white folks say, well, damn, these niggas got old black towns and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, and they don't need us. So, you know what? We respect. You know, and a lot of times they went and burned shit down because we weren't coordinated. But I'm just saying, Booker T knew, he recognized that we need to have that money, that we need to buy land, that we need to do all these things right here. You know, in my mind, I think Booker T was thinking about the future. It may not happen in my time with the final goal where we want our independence and freedom, but I'm going to lay the groundwork and build for that. That's what Booker T was doing. That's why I say people want to put Booker T in that category. Booker T went in that category. Booker T was smart, and Booker T, and I'll tell you one thing, especially about Booker T. When Jack Johnson fought Jim Jeffries in 1910 for the Great White Hope match, you know what I'm saying? You know, Booker T, he couldn't stand Jack Johnson. He couldn't stand it. Guess why, Forecast? Because of him and the white women. He hated that shit.
Yeah,
he hated that shit. Booker T said he was talking about he could have got a woman of his own race. You know what I'm saying? So he was against that bullshit. I mean, that was in his mindset. What I'm saying, Booker T played a game, man. He had to play a game with them white folks. He played it, and he was successful with it. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what? He just like this here. Okay, I'm gonna say this and let it go. It was a white man in Louisiana back in the days. He was the governor of Louisiana. His name was Earl K. Long. Earl K. Long. His brother's cousin was Huey P. Long. I know you probably heard of him, Huey P. Long. But anyway, you know, he was the one that got killed. Okay, Earl K. Long, these black ministers, the black political leaders had went to him because, you know, we needed medical, health services. And like, you know, hospitals, black people could go to the all-white hospital because they wouldn't treat you. Well, he was saying, well, we need healthcare, a healthcare system for black people. They went to, and he went to them. He said, well, look here. Okay, I get it for you. He was the governor at that time. I get it for you. You ain't gonna like the way I get it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna like the way I do it, but I'm gonna get it for you. So he went in the Louisiana legislature, and he went and for all them white folks. You know what he said? He said, I was walking through the hospital the other day, and I seen the worst thing that I ever seen. I seen some of our beautiful white nurses wiping these sick niggas' ass. You know what I'm saying? wiping these sick niggas' ass. And look here, in the next day, the white folks passed legislation to get black healthcare workers and everything in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? That they did it the next day. Not next week, forecast, the next day. They got that shit straight. So what I'm saying, Booker T, he laid there and said some shit that like a brother, a radical brother, like a WB boy who saved around would have said, we don't like that shit Booker T's talking about. But Booker T got results. I'll believe it right there.
Well, yeah, between him and W, they had the same mission, I believe. But look, I'm not here to say whatever, right? Because that was too long ago. I'll just say that, right? You know, and that's why I say it's a Booker T. Washington Award. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's an award, right? You know what I'm saying? Somebody, but look, all right. Let me ask you a question. Now, say Candace Owens, all right? We find out she been funding, like the new Black Panther Party, right? The Khalid Muhammad organization. This whole time, she had been funding them, or the Fred Hampton Gun Club, right? And she had been stacking her money this whole time. Would she then get? Would she then be like get the award? Like, would she be good?
I would just put it to you this way, forecast. If we needed some guns and we ain't got no guns, listen to me. If me and you, we two commanders, we short on guns, we short on ammunition, and this woman come to us and say, I could get you some guns and some ammunition, I get you some money, I get you some medical supplies and all that stuff, everything that you need, but I might have to go here and serve this hunky. You know what I'm saying? Okay, look here now. While you in war, in battle, you're getting your ass kicked and you're running out of ammunition. What you gonna do?
Now, listen.
It's simple. I'm asking. Hey,
now,
look here. Forecast. Why me and you?
Yeah. No, listen. I'm gonna tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
I 100% agree. I'll put Candace Owens on the Mount Rushmore of Black people. She come in fun. I think she was the revolutionary of all revolutionary. It'd be Ida Wells and Candace Owens if she was funding the Black Revolution this whole time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And still, even right now, if goddamn whoever the nicest white, if Bernie Sanders call her the N-word, then I got a problem with Bernie Sanders. Even right now, I don't even know if she's funding the organization. But yeah, I would say yes, my brother. Absolutely.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's the perfect example of the spook that sat by the door. This was the Negro that white folks thought was they Negro. You know what I'm saying? Oh, look at old Candace, or look at whatever old Booker T. He's a good nigga. He ain't one of these niggas who just mad and upset and militant and radical and talking about overthrowing the system and all that. He said, let's get along to get along. And all the time he up there stabbing their motherfucking ass in the back. You know what I'm saying? He up there working for his people. He got a secret agenda. Ain't that what you supposed to do? Do you supposed to go? Forecast. Do you supposed to go?
Do that? No, absolutely. I'm not doing that. No.
Let me ask you. Do you supposed to go?
Ida B. Wells route.
I love Ida B. I'm just asking you this here though. What I'm saying is this. Don't you? That's a part of warfare, deceiving the enemy.
Yeah, some people got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, we have those people. Hey, look here. You got in a war, we got people who got different areas of expertise. You know what I'm saying? Well, me and you won't do that, but we got other people who will. You know what I'm saying? What we do? Hey, I need somebody to go over here and do this right here. Even going back to the spook, I'm gonna get in the Bible for a minute. It was this. I'm trying to remember what chapter. I wish Matron was here because she remember. It was one part. It was something that was happening. It was in the Bible, and it was this. It was. I think it may have been. I think it was in the book. It was like Ahab, the king Ahab of Israel, and he was going against these. Against Elijah, one of the prophets. But what happened was this right here. God, somebody in the heaven, God, whoever, says somebody need to go down and be a lion spirit and go down and you know what I'm saying, and do some funny shit to trick up Ahab. And so they said
God sent the lion spirit to the people.
No, I'm saying that's in the Bible.
A
Now, you know, I
delusional
don't,
spirit, yeah. It
yeah, you
says
know,
a
I don't
delusional.
believe in that shit, but I'm just saying. But he
Yeah,
said,
that's what it says, yeah.
yeah, he said a lying spirit. So you know what I'm saying? Everybody got a job to do. Hey, the lying spirit had to go down there and fool people. Candace over them had to go down. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying we got. Hey, what I'm saying in a military campaign in a battle, we got to use all of our stuff. You know what I'm saying? We had to have all kind of strategies. Sometimes you can't go up against the enemy just mano a mano because the enemy might be bigger and have more guns than you. So what we got to do? We got to do trickery. Something. We got to use guerrilla warfare and trickery, and that covers a lot of stuff. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'll tell you this, right? MG2 probably not here, so I'll say it for him. He'd be like, yeah, I'll be the first one to go down there. If it's gonna give me what I need from I already know, right? Because and I agree with you. But the problem is though, historically speaking, right? Generally, when you see that kind of attitude though, right? And this is not about Booker T. Washington or nothing, but with black people as a whole, you see I feel like I'm better than other black people kind of spirit, or you see the needing a white savior spirit because they don't realize both is there's no less than two evils. You know what I'm saying? Like whether you're a full clone or you need a white savior, that's still clone behavior. You know what I'm saying? And I'll go through the rest of this real quick because I definitely I do need to get off of here soon. So let me go through the rest of these joints real quick. And then we'll chop it up after that. Damn, now it's gonna start freezing up. Damn, my bad. Now it's freezing.
Back.
Pay me back. I don't want anything out of this.
See, this is black people here, all right? When you talk about trying to fit in and get what they
pay you
get.
back.
Pay me back.
Pay me back.
I don't want anything out of this.
Now forget this dude, but that's the mindset of pay me back. I don't want anything out of this. I just want to uplift them. You know what I'm saying?
Call a black person the N-word, but we
Now listen to this. Now we was just talking about this.
Minneapolis recently, a
Now
white
I'm curious.
anti-ICE protester was in a group of anti-ICE protesters.
It's straight lagging. But all right, let's see if it's hard.
Call a black person the N-word.
All right, so apparently a good white person called
99.9% of the time, it is wrong for a white person to call a black person the N-word. But we may have found the exception. In Minneapolis recently, a white
leave it to a Negro to find the exception to that,
group
right?
of anti-ICE protesters yelling at a black ICE Gestapo agent. An unidentified white male called the black ICE agent a house N-word who's working for the KKK. That's right, we have a white man calling a black man the N-word. But this is a little bit different. White on black usage of the N-word is a very serious issue. But this is a curveball example. Is it wrong for a white person to call a black ICE officer a house N-word? Let's explore. The white man who used the situation was being historically precise. This black ICE agent, he is being a house.
This was the dialogue.
Utmost degree. A black man in ICE is a modern house slave. He's a barely paid mule for white supremacy. The KKK.
But he thinks he's not. That's the crazy part.
Domestic terrorism. I think this is a valid usage of the N-word. He's not attacking his blackness.
He's arguing for a white boy calling something else.
In ICE while being a black man. being black in ICE makes you a house N-word. So to call you that, it's almost like a professor pointing out, oh, look.
But in any context whatsoever, if I was just to be like, hey, listen, if a black dude tried to justify a white boy calling another black person an N-word, would that person be a house N-word? And that's the thing, like, we be so loose with it because we call other people that, then we don't realize, like, hey, somebody could call me that for the beliefs that I have, you know what I'm saying? But you want to say something, bro?
Okay, this is what I want to say. I know that guy Toure. You know, he's one of those. I don't know what to say about him.
Goofy.
That's
what you can
yeah, he one of those weird, those goofy ass Negroes. You know what I'm saying? And I remember him from way back in the days of Death Row Records and Tupac now. But what I'm saying is, this is the mentality. He go talking about it's cool for the white man, the white boy, to call a brother a nigga. Okay, this is what I say to him. Well, why couldn't he just say it a house Negro instead of a house nigga? You know what I'm saying?
Or how about sellout? Or how about
Yeah,
shut the hell up?
I'm saying. I mean, why did it have to be the word that they call us when they was lynching our brothers and sisters? You nigga, die nigga. And all, you know what I'm saying there? It ain't saying like Negro is better, but I'm just saying it's more acceptable. You know, Negro, you know, some people look at it a racial slur, some not. You know, it's a Spanish, Portuguese word for black.
Yeah.
But but what I'm saying is, why is it cool in your mind for the white boy to call somebody, or call a brother a nigga, a house nigga?
And let me say this, right? Because if your answer is we call each other the N-word, then you might need to look in the mirror to see if you got some clone activities going on within you before I even answer that. You know what I'm saying? Why is not?
Yeah.
But if that's your answer to it, because I heard brothers come on here and say, well, we call ourselves that all the time.
Yeah, and we do, and we do, and I say it. And when I say
it's a damn difference. Don't say that.
Yeah, but usually when I say it,
behavior.
Yeah, usually when I say it, I'm talking about some stupid ass Negro, you know what I'm saying, who act like that. Some old, you know what I'm saying, that's against his people. But I'm just saying, but that still don't have that still ain't no excuse. There ain't no excuse for him
black people
to justify a white man calling them that.
No, black people wasn't having picnics while they was gouging out our eyeballs, cutting out our tongues, ripping our fingers off our toes, cutting us in half, eating us, castrating us. They wasn't sitting there calling us that while they was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why, you know.
Yeah, because when he say it's cool to call him that, he justifying it.
Yeah, no, yeah. But this is what I'm saying. Right, the eternal wake up call is eternal because we not getting the wake up call because we can think we can point fingers to the next one and be like, "Hey, I'm against this." That's why I'm trying to tell people. I'll be warning them, right? Like before you be like, "Yo, we got to do the coon." Like now, can you look in the mirror and say you ain't got the coon chip installed? And we all got it as it's like implanted when you're going into their hospitals. You're born, they smack you, and then they put the coon chip in you, and it's up to you to deactivate it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's the forecast. But see, this is the thing about it. See, it's a Negro like Toure. This is what they'll do. See, this is where you fit. This is how you separate. How you separate us. You do, how you separate. You know what we talking about. This same Negro Toure. We'll talk about it's cool to call for the white boy to call that brother a Negro because he worked for ICE. Okay, but turn around and he'll go into Black History Month and praise the Buffalo Soldiers. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the Buffalo Soldiers, they were great. Well, the Buffalo Soldier was doing the white folks' job in displacing the indigenous people and mass murder and killing them people and stealing their land. You know what I'm saying? But you will praise the Buffalo Soldiers. You will praise the black soldiers in World War in the Spanish-American War, who went to fight the Spaniards in Cuba, or who went to World War I, European War I, and European War II. You'll praise them over there doing the bidding of these white folks. You know what I'm saying? And then coming back to the brutality of America. You know what I'm saying? You went over there to fight for them in a war that ain't benefiting black people nowhere. But see, these Negroes will, like him, they will praise that. Nigga, you ain't praising nobody who did something. Hey, look, respect respect those ancestors for for having the courage to fight, but they wasn't fighting for us. You fighting for honkies. You know what I'm saying? But see, I'm saying that's the contradiction. Now you would talk about this brother. It's cool to call him an N-word, because he in ICE. But it ain't. But what about the brothers who was fighting, who was killing the indigenous people in white folks' name and taking them off their land and committing genocide against them, or who was fighting in America's wars against non-black people, non-white people. You know what I'm saying? It's all in the name of profit for white folks and shit. I mean, and then coming back to get your ass lynched in your uniform.
Yeah, and by the way, like a lot of the 5%ers like to use the Bacon's Rebellion thing against like the concept of race, and they didn't realize that he was trying to get the black people to kill Indians. You know what I'm saying? So, that's a whole nother topic. But all right, so let's we've seen him, but then you got the extreme, right? The extreme, he got his wake up call, which I don't have on here, and we ain't got time to look it up, but we saw it already when he was on there. Like, I can't believe they called me the N-word and say I ain't invited to their stuff.
But I just have to.
Now, why would they have him on their show? Like, not that they're respected at all, but why would they have this clown on their show?
Where the little kid the black kid had a monkey outfit,
Which is the show,
just like the white kids did. It's somehow racist. So blacks should view themselves as monkeys. And anytime someone calls us that or puts us on the head of a figure.
Now, bro, we can't ignore. Now, we're not saying that they speak for all people, right? Just like we can't say that he speaks for us. But we can't ignore that there might even been people in power who was just like this, right? We can't ignore that some wanted to be down with the Europeans so bad, or either just think they can make a profit off of what was going on, thinking it wouldn't affect them, that they can just profit off of it as if it's not hurting them themselves, as if they wouldn't get kidnapped themselves. Like, there was unfortunately people like this, that
We're supposed to
existed.
be immediately outraged that this person is doing this. And let me explain to you.
Tommy, I'm sorry, I can't just let that go without asking you something. Do you?
But people like this clown here.
Studied history in this.
We only have the clone conversation on one side. Like, what is he doing here? What's going on here?
Around slavery and the depictions of black people in this.
Now, we don't even need to hear this, but we do need to hear this.
Profitable. The minute your words stop aligning with their script,
Tokens always humiliates himself and makes fun of his own in the positions that they're in, even when those conditions were created by oppression. And now we're going to talk about what happens.
Tokens always get spent.
When the grift runs out.
But there's still one unresolved question, one that we asked at the very beginning of this video. Was any of this worth it? Was the platform, the paycheck, the fleeting applause of an audience that never truly...
You asked me before about the brother who sold his people out for a rebellion, or was it worth it? I don't know, because if his children wasn't able to inherit none of his wealth, I would say it was not. All right, unless he's one of the ones in the Illuminati, is like they like to say, then I think it was not worth it. Because now your lineage is just tied in with the rest of us who was down to do the rebellion in the first place, right? So now you're screwed like the rest of us. He might have got some money and spent it. Who knows if he even, how he died, you know what I'm saying? How they lived the rest of their life. If they got kidnapped when they went up north, because they used to kidnap black people anyway, right? So who knows how his life turned out.
He wanted you, worth the price.
Kids, we know how his generation turned out.
A seat at the table is never guaranteed.
That's
and
right.
Even if you do manage to secure one, don't fool yourself. You're not getting served. You're the entertainment. You're the prop. You're the proof they point to so they don't have to change. That's the real cost of community. And it's a bill that always comes due.
Yeah.
But let's actually explore this. What happens to when Massa no longer needs them to serve them? Do we welcome them back with open arms after spending their entire career spreading harm? Even better, what about this? Or not, how do we navigate the trap of needing to play into white sensibilities without ending up like these clowns? Enough tap dancing. Time to take the shoes off.
Okay.
Oh, no. This can't be. It says I'm 102% African with a 2% margin of error. Why, Lord?
He's at 102% black.
Table, not a real one. You might get invited to stand near it, maybe even handed the plate if you're lucky, but you'll never be allowed to sit down and eat without permission. That's not how this system works. It doesn't integrate you into power, it accessorizes you. You're not there to change it.
All right. You know what? Just because we got to get off of here, we've had enough. We already know about the clones, right? So, because I got to get off of here. But this was important. Talking about the herbalism, right? That's what she called it. But how black people knew about plants not only to heal but to, you know, use as a weapon. How black women also fought back, you know, using what they did as a weapon. And also they made it illegal for us to know about plants. They literally made it a law because they were so scared about being poisoned. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome back to Healthy Home. So today I want to talk about this book called Working the Roots, because it's getting to the root of African American herbalism, which I think is really important, especially this month, even though every month is Black History Month, not the shortest month of the year, but a lot of families do decide to look more at some of the historical books. And so if you are an herbalist, your family is getting into herbs, I think this is a perfect addition to add to your library. It has over 350 pages. And in the back, it has a section, a glossary of different cultural terms and also some medicinal properties or medicinal terms. In here, it has an index of some images. It has the medicine, so it has like a reference list of different medicines in here, a little bit of information about some of the benefits and some preparations. So I think that that's really cool. And these are things that you day. So this is the result of firsthand interviews, conversations, and she keeps the dialogues and everything there. So you really get, this is a really nice book. So as you can see, they have interviews in the book. And so that's the first part. You get to see the faces, which I love, and their stories, and she keeps the dialogues and everything there. So you really get a full glimpse and understanding. And it's like, you know, you really get to know a little bit and become family with everybody in the book. I haven't read this much yet. I went straight into the herbs. So I did a class, and I had, when I saw that, that made
My bad. Let me see.
Hey guys, it's your girl Indigo Gamer Mimi. Today
Damn, I had the wrong
on a
one.
daily basis.
My bad, y'all. I had something else here.
Enslaved Africans faced brutal conditions that severely impacted their health. In the Caribbean and Americas, they were forced into grueling labor on plantations, particularly in sugar and tobacco farming. Colonial powers, including the British, French, and Spanish, exploited them, often neglecting their medical needs. Traditional African healing practices were adapted, blending with European medicine, yet access to care was minimal. Many slaves suffered from malnutrition, untreated injuries, and infectious diseases. Throughout the 19th century, abolitionists and enslaved people's resistance efforts laid the foundation for emancipation. Gradually, countries began to abolish slavery, recognizing the humanity and contribution.
All right, so and the last thing we'll show is about this sister here. Oh no, it's not. I had the sister.
This is the cane knife found just off the shore in Cinnamon Bay. A cane knife like this, of course, was used for cutting cane. It was used
Damn, I
by
don't know what
almost every
happened.
slave on the island. So it was in everybody's possession.
Now the cane serves a new.
So yeah, this is better off in there. I meant to talk about the sister here, the Bafra. I'm sorry, her name, but all of these is pretty long, so y'all can check her out. You know, I guess this one is short. So
Black History Month, the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority recognizes great Virgin Islanders from the past and present. My name is Kyle C. Thomas. Brefu, revolutionist and enslaved African, is credited with leading one of the longest lasting slave rebellions in the Americas, empowering more than 150 enslaved Africans to fight for their freedom in a rebellion that remained successful until April 1734 on the island of St. John. We celebrate and honor Brefu.
and now I had something longer that was like it would have been better, but we ain't really got time because it was in here. But I guess this will be the best way to end it with.
Saki, a close associate of the governor, is murdered.
Okay, I want to talk before you end it.
At the nearby fort, rebel insurgents overcome the guards. The Aquamoos overrun the Danish troops. Guns and ammunition are looted from a supply room.
If there was one moment of individual nationalism that ever... What they're doing is they're making flanking maneuvers on either side in hopes to converge at the center to entrap people. There's clear evidence of a knowledge of systematic warfare.
African women help swell the ranks. Experts suspect at least one female rebel is motivated by ties of blood and love. Her name is Brefu.
Yeah, you go in after this song. After this one, we go in
to Brown Bay.
I'm trying to just show the outlines of it. Y'all should watch this whole video, by the way.
They were not able to afford full-grown, healthy adult slaves, so they had purchased 2 children.
While the deaths are brutal, the motive is universal.
It's quite possible that as the rebellion spread to this area, the Croyers were singled out in an effort to save those children.
Later, a breakthrough of a
Caribbean.
Once seemed a black against white revolution. Not all the slaves are bought food. The rebels burn it to the ground, a scene repeated across the island, according to this account.
This resistance is a major setback for the rebels. They have no choice but to fight the other slaves and cripple them by setting their plantations aflame.
Africans against Europeans, slaves against rebels, and soon another iron. News of the revolt finally reaches the governor's. A series of skirmishes takes place. Each time.
All right, well, yeah, go ahead, my brother. You can go in.
Yeah, man. That's I gotta. Hey, send me that link on that, man. You know, I've read the story of Brefu, but I'm saying I've never seen that particular link right there. But yeah, I read the story about her and everything, and knowing from the beginning to the end. But what I wanted to go back to was you was talking about the herbalist thing. Okay, see, this is what I was talking about black people in America not knowing culture, thinking culture is hip hop and dancing and shaking your ass and sagging and all that bullshit. Okay, now see, I grow and I know. Well, I don't know how it was a Virginia forecast when you was growing up, but I guarantee that your daddy and your grandparents them could have told you a lot of stories about like their parents or whatever, who they had their remedies. Today they call them home remedies and stuff like that. You know, I can remember like my grandfather, his name was Nathan Kemps. Now we call him Daddy Kemp. Now he died in the early 90s, around 1990. Now I know my grandfather, we stayed in his house after he died for a long time. Okay, on the side of his house, he grew tea leaves, like mint tea leaves and stuff. He had, he was a country boy. And he had chickens and ducks and, you know what I'm saying, rabbits and all that stuff. He had a garden. And he was a man, he knew those, like when people got sick, because, back in those days, you couldn't go to the hospital because, because of the segregation, you couldn't go to a good hospital. And a lot of time my people had to depend on country healers, you know what I'm saying, on root workers and stuff. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is a lot, it just goes back to about the identity thing too. Okay. A lot of Africans that were broke, to what is now the United States, came from West Africa. They came from West Africa. They came from Central Africa. Now, I wrote a name in the private chat, for you to see. That name is called Airway. The Airway people. You seen that? Capital EWE. The Airway people. Now, the Airway people of West, and a lot of West African people, all of them, they had their herbalist traditions. What the white man called them witch doctors and stuff like that. But the Airway, a lot of Airway people and people from that region, the Akan people, Airway people, they related people who came from what is now modern day Ghana. Okay, a lot of those people came to different parts of the America. Someone went to the Carolinas, someone went to Virginia, someone was brought to Louisiana. The male came from the Upper South region, from Virginia, and got shipped out here. Some of them were in the 1811 rebellion on the German coast. What I'm saying is, across the southern United States, among Black American, African American culture, we used to have this thing, and we still have this spiritual practice that is known as hoodoo. I know you done heard of it, about hoodoo, capital HOODOO. Now, hoodoo, the word hoodoo comes from an Airway word, HUDU, hoodoo, and the word means, guess what? Medicine man, root doctor. Now, what are hoodoo people known in America, in southern part of the United States? They are known as root workers. It's the same thing. And it's also a similar thing in tradition in Central Africa, from the Angola region. You know what I'm saying? Which has a strong influence on our people. A lot of your early Africans in Virginia were from Angola. What I'm saying, this whole herbalist thing, this was some plant knowledge that we bought from Africa. We got here, and we learned a little bit about the European medicine, but we also learned about the indigenous people, the Native American, their knowledge of the plants, the fauna of the land. You know what I'm saying? And we combined all of that together, and came up with our medicine traditions and stuff. I can remember as a young boy when I would get sick of certain things, you know what I'm saying, to my grandma, my great-grandmama, my grandmama, my mom and them, going in and getting some stuff and putting it on some grass and stuff and boiling it on the stove and come and rubbing my chest with it. You know what I'm saying? Or taking that tea or stuff like that. One thing I know you heard of, like we growing up about the hot toddies and shit. You know what I'm saying? I know you'd heard of that. But I'm saying all these kind of things that we did, these country, what they call them, country ways, this medicine and stuff that we had. I remember a whole bunch of stuff, man. Like different plants that I see my grandmama going out there picking out the garden. My granddaddy picking out the garden and say, this is good for that. You know what I'm saying? Where I lived there was a school across the street from me. And it was a plant that used to grow up on the side of the building. And I just thought it was just some vines or something. But my mama's husband, her second husband, he like, no, that's a such and such. I forgot what he called it, but it was something that you could use to go and fit a healing product. Say, if you didn't cook it right, it'll kill you. It was poison. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, all of this whole healing, what he was talking about, these traditions go back a long way, and they came from Africa. They came from Africa, and it was with us coming over here to a new land, and learning about the fauna and the topography, the plants and things from the indigenous people, and from even aspects of European medicine or whatever. We combine it into our own thing. But like I said, the word hoodoo means root doctor. It means a root doctor. You're a root doctor. It means a medicine man, a medicine woman. So what I'm saying, and I'm throwing that in, tie that in with the prompt that you put up, but also from our African tradition, coming from West Africa and from Central Africa. There you go.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just say this: most of the corporations that be making these medicines that you take, they be using plants and then they mix it with addictive chemicals, right? And that's why most of America is strung out now. So, and where is this war on drugs? But anyway, I was supposed to get off of here a long time ago, for real, for real. I was supposed to be asleep right now. But I'm gonna rebel against slavery and stuff. But I recognize that it is slavery, so it is what it is. But I think this was real important though, so I wanted to play all of it. So I definitely appreciate you though for coming on here, my brother, and putting context and adding to all of the Black history subjects and stuff like that. So definitely appreciate you. Shouts out to Raw who was in the building. Shouts out to Matron. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Matron. That was a great reading yesterday. So much love to Matron. Shouts out to Cassandra. Shouts out to Karma804. Shouts out to everybody else. Whoever I didn't say. Shouts out to you. You want to say anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the matron, man. It was a great reading. I hung in for a while. I went to sleep. I was so tired, man. I've been ripping and running. But I hung in for about an hour and something, man. It was a great, the matron always give us that great reading, give us that knowledge and those teachings that we know. I mean, and that's been a long project with the matron doing that about that American slave coast. Yeah. And very deep. And shout out to Cassandra, over there living her best life in the motherland and doing her thing, man. And we appreciate her for all the things that she do. And Queen Mother Raw, and for everybody who joined the podcast and everything. And yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. It's always a great privilege, man, to be on the show with a like-minded brother, with a brother, intelligent brother like you, Forecast, man. You know what I'm saying? It's always a pleasure to be here, man. I love being on the program. You my little brother from another mother. And keep on doing what you're doing. I just can't wait till the book is out and published so I can get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I was hoping that I would have it out. I guess it's today for me now. But I guess it's just keep being a whole bunch of stuff because I do want it to be something that I can go to like colleges and like the libraries and also that kind of stuff. And it's like keep being like dumb technical stuff like all of the stuff. So every time it keeps setting me back. But I guess I can show you this now, and then I guess hopefully the next time I'll be live, it'll be up for anybody to get, even if it's just the I can't rush it at the end. I've been doing this for like this particular book for like since like 2018, you know what I'm saying? Up until now. And this is the cover of it. And it was originally meant to be one book, but it's like 60 something chapters and I still ain't finished. I'm at like Idi Amin like right now. So I still got like 30 more years left and I still got like 60 something chapters, so I had to break it down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. How you gonna break it? You gonna break it into what 2 or 3 books? How many you gonna break it into?
I don't know. I guess it's gonna be like 4. I guess so far now. I wanted to be one big thing though, for real. So I guess at the end it'll be one big thing. But I guess for now, but people be like, it won't hold people's attention. It's too long. It's too big. So you got to break it down. So I guess I finally did it. But I think all of our history should be in one place, though. You know what I'm saying? But this is the cover for it. I can at least show you that, because I know I've been talking about it for a long time, but it'd be taking stupid long. And I gave y'all chances to correct me if something was wrong, so y'all didn't. But yeah, and I guess if I get it up by then I'll show it. So yeah, I guess that's it. But yeah, I appreciate you for coming on here, my brother. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we keep falling for anything.